So the video is working now. Yeah, why don't you just start and then.
What do you want to do?
Wait, I don't even know if people can hear us at home.
Yeah.
If you want me to ask them.
Did it? Wait, no, I didn't, because it's not coming from the right place. What are you doing with this? Where are you moving this to? Hold on a second. Well, where are you
Actually,
sitting?
that's fine.
Okay. All right. We're recording. Sorry, everybody. Setting up the computer. We're recording, and I will show how to do translations quickly before we start. So los que están en casa, si quieren traducir esta reunión de inglés a español, vas abajo donde están esos tres puntitos, se dice more options, más opciones. Vas a bajar donde dice set. Captions, cuadrito con doble C. Inglés, lo vas a traducirlo a español o cualquier otro idioma que quieras. Y eso es todo. Okay.
Okay. Welcome and roll call. Welcome everyone to the first regular LSC meeting since school started. Yeah. Time starting is 5:13. So roll call: Jenny Dale, Al Jackson, Nuria McNeil, Juliana Camayo, Julie Wexler here, Jessica Mann here, Kristen Rico, Margarito Rosa, Justin Cia,
Here.
Benjamin Barra, here, and then Juan Carlos Sayas,
Business.
and Arista Isidoro. Wonderful, everyone's review group norms. We just, as always, ask that everyone be respectful when speaking, allow others to speak, especially if you've spoken. We understand you have to check your electronic devices and your phones to try to keep it to a reasonable amount. And next goes to approval of the minutes. Would someone like to approve the minutes? I'm sorry, the agenda. I'm sorry. The approval of the agenda. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to make an amendment to the agenda. I would like to motion to add 2 points to begin the principal report. First, with an update on drop-off and pickup procedures, and second, an update on the status of the support and training plan for teachers who've been reassigned to the district before going into the
Okay, is there a second for that motion?
I motion to approve the amendment.
So you second for me. Does anyone need to discuss this before we vote?
Ms. Dale, if you wouldn't mind explaining what it's exactly.
So I know there's been a lot of communication for this stuff. I know that I'm not expecting a full presentation, but it's a verbal update on their lessons on pickup and drop-off procedures, and then also a verbal update on what's the status of support and training for teachers to get assigned to 6 assigned to different grades, including 2 classes who have who have no teachers. So those are the things that I'd like to make sure that we get verbal updates on those before we go in.
Any other discussion, are we okay to approve that? Okay, all in favor of amending the agenda so that the start of the principal report reflects the two things that Debbie mentioned, which is the sort of update for application on the walk-up procedures and support training for the teachers that were based on grades. I'll make today I raise your hand. Aye. Anybody was opposed? Okay, they're facing, right? But okay, that passed. So that's going to go at the start of. Now we move on to approval of the minutes. So these are the minutes that were emailed out, and it was we had several special meetings as well. May 22nd, May 29th, June 3rd, and June 10th.
Yes.
The July 9th organization meeting will be September 11th.
And the special meetings for 2 minutes, I think that are, yes, so it's 4
So
minutes.
May 22nd, May 29th, June 3rd, and June 10th are the minutes that were emailed out. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I had a question about, I think, the June 3rd that had the description of how, like, the discussion that we had about the budgets. And Ms. Mann read the email, and I wanted to add that to the minutes, saying that the email from the teachers was read and that there were some teachers who were okay with giving the teams the way that they were. And
Which emails?
They're from the teachers. When you send that survey out about how they felt about the budgets, by the
Oh, yeah.
And I just wanted to have a note saying that the email was read and this is on the because you mentioned, sorry,
Yeah.
you mentioned the other, how we heard from parents, and I wanted to add that we also heard from teachers.
The survey thing.
So if you have, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't remember the exact, so if you have exact language that you wanted to
I
include.
emailed it to you.
Okay, I felt that it was pretty, but you said you weren't unsure of like what meeting and what section where it was?
And I don't know if anyone remembers. I thought it was June 3rd. I don't know if anyone else remembers what day it was. Without the recording, I do not remember.
So I would suggest if someone else wants to, because you didn't remember, that's why I feel concerned about exactly where it is. So if you would like to, we could, two
We have
things.
enough time
So we could
We could
postpone the,
postpone the June meetings. It was a June meeting.
I think it was June 3rd.
So we have enough, like we will be within the rules for approving minutes. If you want to go back and look at the video recordings.
Well, I
Yeah.
couldn't find it.
Oh, they're there.
I couldn't find it. But maybe I didn't see it.
They're up.
They're all
to
uploaded
you.
on
I
public
looked at-
files.
I'm just saying that I looked for it, but I couldn't find it.
Okay, so I can send you the recording, so then you could put the
Yeah.
exact quote, and then I can make the amendments and we can send
Okay,
it.
so are you then making a motion to approve?
If you message me, I can look for them.
Okay,
I need a reminder.
all right.
So then, Noria, are you making a motion to approve only the May 22nd and May 29th
Yes.
meeting?
I motion to
Although
approve.
they're for me.
There were four. There was May 22nd, May 29th, June 3rd, and June 10th. And there's something you want added to either the June 3rd or the June 10th meeting.
I would like to wait on the June 3rd one.
It's the June. Okay, but you're okay to approve June 10th? Okay, so then, I just want to make sure your motion is to approve only May 22nd, May 29th, and June 10th.
Yes.
Okay. Someone, yes.
And just for the minutes, Clarity Nudia will review recordings and submit the amendment at the next meeting.
Correct, but she'll contact you in advance so that you have the correct.
Right.
So then, would someone like to second Nuria's motion to approve? Second, that was Jess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of approving May 22nd, May 29th, and June 10th minutes, please raise your hand or say aye. Abstain, okay. Everybody else in favor? Okay. So one abstention, everyone else in favor. Okay, so that takes us to public participation, 3 minutes per person. Justin, you're gonna, okay, I just have to read, give me one second, guys, the new bylaws, new statement. We will now proceed with the public participation portion of the meeting. Profane language, unsolicited comments, and disruptive behavior are prohibited. Individuals who are disruptive may be given a warning and may also be removed from the meeting if necessary. The online chat will be open during public participation only for participants to put their name to request to speak. Otherwise, all attendees must refrain from writing anything else in the chat. You're checking to see.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Usually what we have done historically is like we'll take one in person and then one online and then one in person and one online until we exhaust our time.
The chat's open now.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have
Next
the,
time it's 15 minutes, I think. No, 10 minutes.
oh, I'm sorry, it's actually 15. In the new
Right,
bylaws.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's not my error. So thinking of the new bylaws don't say the time, but it's in the, I mean, it's not in the part I see. Okay. And then our new bylaws state that we can extend each of the 2 public participation times by only 10 minutes. And you have the list.
I'm gonna get it.
Thank you. I remember Justin, I remember to get the statement from new bylaws to read it, but I forgot that it's.
They say they can't, no, doctora,
So, yes.
there's an echo. It says that
Oh,
they
there's an
can't hear
echo.
us.
It's probably the.
All right, are we
That's
starting
too
in
bad.
person or?
We can start in person. Usually I think what we do is we do one in, sorry,
Let's
what,
turn off
Jenny?
the air. They can hear us.
Okay,
So
can you
turn off the air for a moment. We'll turn it back on if we need to, but take a pause so they can hear us for a little bit.
Yeah, we can start with one in person and then one.
And it's 15 minutes total,
It's 15
right?
minutes
Should I
total.
just set a 15-minute timer on my phone?
He's gonna do.
I got it.
Oh, you do the same.
Yeah, he's got.
And, sorry, just a clarification, no, Ms. Mann seconded the motion for the minutes, correct?
Yes. So public participation is now 15 minutes total and we can extend each one by 10 minutes.
Okay. So start in person and then online?
Yeah, let's do one in person, one online, and go back.
And I signed up for public participation, but I'm fine going last, just to make sure that everyone else can go first.
Okay.
Mr. Joe Alter,
Thank you.
come on down.
Am I close enough? Should I stand over by you?
Actually,
Okay.
maybe we should put it right here, so it's.
Just, yeah.
Use a loud voice.
Okay, this is not like me to speak loud. I'm here tonight. Good evening, everybody. It's good to see LSC. Thank you for your service to the school, parents, staff members, community members, everyone. I'm here because I'm concerned about these impending layoffs to our custodial workers. Miss Senora Isidoro is a valued member of our school community. Should I stop so you can translate? Or?
Oh, it's translating here.
Oh, you guys are great. I'm not coming here, saying that I've got all the facts and figures right, but I'm trying to educate myself about these cuts. And it seems as though CPS is going to cut 1,250 outsourced custodial jobs, with plans to rehire only 750 of these positions in-house as district staff, leading to a net loss of 500 total job losses. I think this move blindsided a lot of our veteran custodians coming at the end of the summer who worked so hard all summer long to make our schools so clean and safe and beautiful. I have permission from Mirnes to speak to his situation. He is, I don't think anybody who knows him would disagree, like the most conscientious person. He's the night custodian, and every time I'm here finishing paperwork, he comes in, he's so polite, he's so just friendly, positive, upbeat, and does just like an amazing job. And when I heard from him that, that he's, concerned about losing his job, you know, I just felt like, you know, I'm sure many of you are aware of this, but I wanted to make sure that the LSC, you know, that this was on your radar. And I don't know, you know, what, if anything, you all can do to influence this situation. Change it, maybe nothing, but I think, you know, I, you know, wanted to just put it out there for your consideration. My understanding, and again, I could be wrong, is that the current plan is to rehire 750 back, but at probationary wages without their benefits. So a guy like Myrnes, who's put in, I think, over close to 20 years in the district, not here necessarily, stands to like start at 16 bucks an hour, right? And this is a guy that has a family, and I'm just using his as an example of like all the hundreds of other privatized custodians that stand to lose their jobs. So whatever influence you have to make a statement on behalf of our veteran custodians to the district to encourage them to hire back custodians that have seniority and veteran custodians at their existing wages with their benefits and their pension at that level would be, I think, you know, a gesture that would be appreciated by, you know, teachers in the school community, and certainly Myrnes. Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
All right.
No apologies. Thank you. Okay, so online now. Carolina Barrera Tobón.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I have a 7th grader and a 5th grader, and I was hoping that in the principal report we could get some clarity on several changes that have happened to the children's schedules. For example, now some of the kids have lunch before recess. There has been this strange specials group phenomenon where kids from different grades are taking specials with children in other grades, and so they're split into groups. So I'd like clarification on that. I'd also like some clarification on how the teachers are taking their planning periods, especially in the middle school grades, because from what I understand, some of our middle schoolers are missing an entire contact hour per week for their homeroom topic. So whoever their homeroom teacher is, if their homeroom teacher is Mr. Sanchez, apparently they're missing an hour of math each week because of some of these changes. And finally, appears nothing has changed over the summer. Mr. Zayas is retaliating. I just wanted to report another suspected retaliation on another staff member at Inter-American. He let go an hourly worker over the summer when I'm sure none of us were paying attention because we weren't in school. According to him, it was because of budget cuts. None of the budget cuts were discussed in the LSC meetings. And then if you go on the CPS job board, he's hiring another hourly right now. So this is a person that spoke out against him during an LSC meeting. So it doesn't take too much, you know, string theory to connect these things. I'm also curious why the assistant principal and any of the jobs at Inter-American on the CPS job board do not have bilingual listed next to them. Thank you.
Okay, in person, Jenny, you said skip over you, right? Ms. Jackson?
Let me know when you're ready. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. I have just 2 quick requests to bring forward. First, our curriculum room at the school here, it is a really valuable resource for teachers with a wide range of reading and science materials in both English and Spanish. My sons, myself, my family, others, Margarita came to visit yesterday, and lots of people have been helping to make these materials more organized and accessible for teachers and students. I'd like to ask for your support in providing additional shelving. I also love to invite you to come see the space. It's right down the hall in person to get a sense of how much it's being used. And And I'm also soliciting more volunteers because it's a tall task. Second, I'd like us to consider right at school and thinking about lunch and recess support. I think about how right at school is wonderful. I've had experience with them several times. I know that during recess and lunch, someone mentioned lunch period, these can be chaotic times, and trained professionals who supervise will be really helpful to create a more positive and safe environment for students. Since Right at School is already here for before and after school care, and their staff know our students, they really could be a great option to support during the school day as well. That's something I think important to consider or fundraise for or think about. And that's it. Thank you for considering me.
I don't see anybody else online. If you are online and wanted to participate, please put your name in the chat. For now, I'm just going to go to the in-person list. Rigoberto Manuelos.
So just right here is fine?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rigoberto. I'm an area manager from Right at School. Just kind of want to introduce myself. I know a lot of, some of the people here I do know. I just wanted to let you know who I am. I've been with Right at School for about 8 years now. I've been an area manager for about 3 now. I've been overseeing Inter-American for almost 3 years now. Just wanted to come here, show face, any questions that anyone might have about our before and after school programs. We're here to field those questions and answer them. Also, thank you for bringing up recess. Thank you for that. We're in plenty of schools as well for recess. We offer that support for recess. Those trained professionals that can be at your school can be here at Inter-American as well. We're here to answer any questions. I'm just going to keep it short. That's it. All right, thank you. You're welcome.
Now it is Keely Schroeder. I'm sorry if I say Keely Schroeder. Did I say it right?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Keely. I'm with Right at School as well. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the regional manager. We just came out to see how things were going. Unsolicited on the recess stuff. I swear, didn't know until I walked in today. So I guess we're in the right place at the right time. But I oversee all of our Chicago public schools. I've been in the business of out-of-school time care for 18 years now. I started in college as a summer camp counselor and found my passion. And so we're just excited to continue our partnership with Inter-American, and one of our goals this year is to be more active and engaged within our school communities. So likely you will see myself or Rigoberto at multiple LSC meetings, just because that's something that we're passionate about, is the local inspiration, know what's going on, and if there's ways that we can support. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Could you spell your name just for the?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Kealy. And then last name is Schroeder, Schroeder.
And go for your last name again?
My last name, Banuelos, B as in boy.
Banuelos?
Yeah, Banuelos.
Okay. And then Jenny Dale, and then that's it.
So I'm not, I didn't time myself, so please let me know. I'm introducing myself as my parents, right? Well, you might know me. I'm Jenny Dale, a parent, LSC representative, and a parent of 2 children at Inter-American, and also a graduate of Inter-American. So I wanted to speak today about the unsafe and chaotic drop-off procedures on the first day. I know there's been a lot of different things happening and different experiences, but I wanted to share mine specifically today. So both of my children, one in kindergarten, one in 3rd, experienced disorganized, first day school experience that put them at risk. I want to be clear, this was not the fault of any individual staff who were doing their best to figure out the new procedures. The problem was that the staff themselves did not have the accurate information to share, and us as parents also did not have accurate and clear information, which is a clear failure of the leadership of this school to communicate this to us. For my kindergartner, I received 3 different answers from staff about where she should go. She was rushed inside after being told that her teacher had already gone inside. She was rushed upstairs to the gym with older children. Again, my 5-year-old was left alone to fend for herself. Luckily, eventually, I was able to support in finding and connecting her with her teacher. For my 3rd grader, I asked repeated clarification before the first day of school from Mr. Zayas, but the emails went unanswered. On the first day, my son was told to actually go inside, following the procedures we had gotten in the email, while another staff across the crowd started yelling that 3rd graders were to line up outside. Without clear directions, he almost went inside without the rest of the group of 3rd graders. When I approached Principal Zayas after my daughter had been lost in the building, visibly upset, he told me he didn't have time to speak to me and provided no follow-up to continue the conversation, to check in with me or my daughter on how we were doing. On the very first day, when children and families were lost and upset, the response showed a lack of empathy and accountability. What is most concerning is that the written communication from Principal Zayas did not take responsibility or offer any apology. For families who felt anxious, for students who were left confused, that absence of accountability is deeply troubling. I do want to recognize that some corrective measures have since been put in place. However, the situation could have been prevented if parent and teacher feedback had been taken seriously ahead of time, and if a clear and coordinated plan had been communicated in advance to both parents and teachers. Our children and our community deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes this public participation portion of the meeting. Next is, we had on here fundraising event presentations, but I actually don't think we received any fundraisers. I believe Bella was going to give maybe like a brief verbal report during the reports, but just there was a fundraiser date that was changed that we voted on. Yes, and as per the rules, we just had to re-sign it, but we did not have to re-vote. But the fundraiser that was supposed to be last week for 8th grade for their Washington DC trip has been moved to tomorrow. It's selling hot dogs, and that was due to inability to get a signature from somebody they didn't sign it. So that then means that we don't have to do voting on fundraisers either. So that then takes us to reports. Principal's report. Principal Nice.
So I'll start off with the pickup and drop off. So we've been listening as a team to concerns and suggestions from teachers, from parents via email, in person, and all of the changes that have happened. We've gotten it to a point where I think we have the staff in place to actually make a lot of the recommendations actually come to fruition. So at door 7 on the North Fremont side, at 8:40, it was discussed about just for the movement of traffic. It was discussed about receiving students of different age groups. So I think the best solution that we could come up with is at 8:40, whoever uses the Kiss and Go will actually be allowed into the building through door 7 and escorted into the auditorium. So that will mitigate a lot of, I don't have time to go to the turf, I have a child that needs to go to door 7 and door 3. So that should help tremendously with that. Other changes that we made were to ensure that Sika's peeled away from the Fremont assisting with Kiss and Go to get to the turf around 8:45 and assist with students lining up. And then staggering their entry into the building. So those are two of the bigger updates that are going to help with the flow of students. And for dismissal, we have the cone set up with the locations where teachers are to bring their students. Like everything else, we are trying to listen to feedback and wherever possible make those changes where they can be made to actually help the students. For support for the staff, we're continuing to support via our dual language coordinator. Two of our learning cycles are focused on dual language specifically. We have another 2 learning cycles that are going to be done through our ILT. But the dual language coordinator, as far as content and curriculum support, she is there. She's been available, and she continues to support in many of the same ways as she did last year. In addition to the DLC, we have the ELPT, who does the same, but with a focus on EL students specifically, VITA standards specifically, because that's within her domain responsibilities. GLTs are also an opportunity that we are going to continue to support new teachers. As mentioned, as we did last year with the 2-hour blocks for cultural enrichment, those are additional opportunities to support teachers in their new assignment. For the next principal report, I could break that down a little bit more with dates for the cultural enrichment days and scheduling and stuff.
Do we do questions before we go into, for these 2 topics
Maybe
before
we
we
should,
go
I was
into the
wondering, that's
report?
what you, yeah, I think if you're okay with it, since we just do questions for these 2 areas and then you go and give the principal report. We don't get lost in some. So yeah, did you want to start, Jenny?
I'll leave it open to other questions from other folks, and then I can.
Okay, does anyone have questions?
About pick up or drop
I mean,
off?
I do, but I don't have to go first. Yeah, Margarita, you have.
Yeah, if you could explain to the LSC as well as the parents, the time change, in other words, the reason for it. It's got times for both, and the decisions made by the lower grades and those teachers as to what they are going to be taking at that time. And when did you meet on this with the teachers and what was taken as well? All of the details at this time. And also in terms of, if you can explain the difference between the lower grades and the grades from fifth grade in one decision, and then the middle school teachers make different decisions. You use the term flex prep time. They decided on flex for the lower grades. So if that is, if you can explain that, because if they're building up their 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, at what point are they going, what is that going to turn into the children now being, when they're calling advisory, which is advisory to the teacher, but they're being put in a position where they're without this class for a whole hour. So there's a lot of questions that we have, and we did, if you can explain that thoroughly, so we can have an understanding of how that happened and how it's working.
So there were a couple of things that changed last year. Most importantly, the biggest change was the CTU contract. CTU contract gave the option to flex those 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes in question are 10 minutes of prep, uninterrupted prep for teachers. The option to flex those 10 minutes to put everything together was offered to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers. So they decided to vote, and they voted to flex those 10 minutes and group them together into 15 minutes. with 5 minutes transition to and from. So that 50 minutes was turned into an advisory. Given the fact that our new budget allocation gave us a restorative justice coordinator, which I'm so happy that we have one, it made sense to have those 50 minutes be advisory. That's SEL learning curriculum that's being led by our restorative justice coordinator in collaboration with our counselor. Because in some cases, we want to make sure that they're in 2 places at once, so it doesn't impact the classrooms as much as possible. So that's the 10 minutes. The 10 minutes was in the contract. Those 10 minutes were voted on by teachers, 6th, 7th, and 8th, to have them flexed. Those 10 minutes were then flexed and is being used for an classroom. So you also mentioned the difference between pre-K to 5th and middle school. Can you elaborate what difference are you talking
Well,
about?
you're saying that the middle school is going to make a decision and vote it on the flex. So it accumulates and becomes a 15-minute period.
Correct.
So, and then the pre-K or through 5th grade, they voted on their 10 minutes being given to them daily.
There weren't, yeah, so the 10 minutes were voted on. It was actually discussed with the PPC. And those 10 minutes were, one option was that it would be added to the beginning. I think Ms. Mann has a question.
So yeah, it was delegate back in the past, and we always flex that time. And I understand that for middle school, we could have still flexed 10 minutes for the rest of the grades to be given back on your principal directed time. Do you know why that wasn't made an option when you guys sat down? Did you not want to give time of your principal directed time? Because that's what we did, like we would bank those 10 minutes, and then on a principal directed day, maybe on this day, you would give us half day as teacher directed. Or, once a month, you would give us one of your principal directed days as a teacher directed day.
So options were given. One of the options was to actually use that flex time for things like open house and curriculum, for the back to school bash. And one of those dates is for May 14th.
Those are 2 different votes. You're talking about a different vote. The only option that was on that you have the bell scheduled and you have the flex time. That what you're talking about is a flexing that day, which is the last day of school. For teachers, that's a Monday. We flex that time, and that's the time that we're flexing after school. So it has nothing to do with the 10 minutes. The 10 minutes, historically, only 1 year we did, I think Mr. Rayfeld was here, I think Amelia, your kids were here. They did do 10 minutes that 1 year where kids were eating in the auditorium, and it was, it's what we're doing now, and it was a mess. So I saw that it was for advisory. What I didn't understand is why on the vote, there wasn't an option for the rest of the teachers to flex those 10 minutes, so that time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So flexing those 10 minutes was the way that I read the contract was the option to flex those 10 minutes was only going to be offered for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Is that wasn't part of the contract though.
Hey, can we ask Dr. Chavez to weigh in?
So you only caught a part of the conversation.
Can you repeat just, yeah.
So he's saying the 10 minutes for the morning, those 10 minutes that in the past, we've banked those minutes, we voted to bank them, and then the principal directed time would be converted to teacher directed time. Mr. Zayas said that contract, that wasn't an option for anybody but middle school now.
So it did change. So, and I'm speaking off the top of my head, I'd have to look at the labor relations guidance document. So there are certain provisions that were specific to middle school, and the 15 minutes free prep time that was in the previous contract, like 2 days a week and so forth, had been eliminated in lieu of an additional 10 minutes every day, of which it could have been added to the essentials course, or in the morning, or till lunchtime. So different grades got to vote in a different way, but that's how and why it's different than the past.
But all the grades had the options, right? It's not like middle school got more options than, that's kind of what we're asking, right, Jess?
There's some different language with middle school.
Okay.
I would have to look it up though. I do recall that.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. What is advisory? I don't know what advisory is.
What do you mean?
When those 10 minutes they added to like one to advisory, and I don't know what it is for the kids.
For the middle
Do
school.
you know what it is?
They
Jen?
did change.
Yeah, go ahead.
So only middle school
Yeah.
had the option. I mean,
Okay, why don't, let's let principals answer the advisory question. Go ahead.
So yeah, advisory is, so the easiest way to kind of explain it or to understand it is like our curriculum for second step. That's what we use for our social emotional learning for the whole school, right? Teachers do that, they internalize it in their lessons and their, for the daily meetings, etc. Advisory really targets those older students with a similar curriculum, right? They still lean on second step because that's what we use for the entire school, but it's more targeted to the needs and it's more responsive. So those 50 minutes is really about social emotional learning for the students, conflict resolution.
So you mean
how
that they go to the class for 15 minutes and.
the restorative justice coordinator and or the counselor go into the classroom for 50 minutes and give that support and those lessons.
I understand. Thank you.
So one of the nice things that the restorative justice coordinator brings to the table is this whole notion of peace circles and how to use that almost on a daily basis, right? To prevent things from escalating.
I did get the contract language, if I just
Yeah, to clarify, thank you.
Because I know once we voted in the new contract at the very end, but anyway, it says, all elementary and middle school schedules must now include 10 continuous minutes of teacher-directed preparation time, which must be scheduled adjacent to an existing prep period, lunch period, or the start of the school day. The PBC can provide input, but teachers will not vote on where the 10 minutes are placed. So basically, we don't have a vote of where that time goes. It's up to the principal to decide.
Out of those three options.
Whether it's beginning of the day, whatever it's learning forms are. So it couldn't be grouped together anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then in middle school, it still is being grouped together?
It's different from
It's
for
middle
school.
school, okay. So in middle school, it can be. I have a question related to that, but you can go first.
Yeah, I was just a comment about this. I'm not sure how the 10 minutes at the beginning of the day work, but for my kid, and I think other kids, I would have preferred the 10 minutes for lunch, extra minutes for lunch, because they always seem to be hurried. Like the moment they get down, it's like 5 minutes, and they have like 10 minutes to eat.
You have to line up to get their food.
Yeah. So I've always wanted longer lunches, and I think that would have been a great addition to that. So if for other years, if we still have the same contract, that would be something to think about.
Well, can I just follow up with what Ms. Mann was saying, or I think the question was whether it was voted on or not. I just wanted to ask Mr. Zayas, how was it only the PPC, or in terms of trying to figure out how to add that 10 minutes, how did you get input from the staff on getting their input on how best to do scheduling and anything? Was there a process to do that, or was it something that you just worked on your own?
Didn't work on my own. I worked on a proposal that I presented to the PPC. PPC is representative of the staff. It wasn't one meeting, let's vote on a thing. It was, I think it took about like 2 meetings to get it done. And I listened to their input while it was being presented. So, along with that, it wasn't just the 10 minutes that were being presented to the PPC, it was also just elevating the fact that an advisory would be really helpful, especially for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. It was giving them an example of what that advisory would look like, scheduling wise. So, yeah, it was not something that I worked on alone, I worked in collaboration.
Okay. You want to go next? Yeah.
Yes, okay. So, 15 minutes of accumulated levy comes in advisory for, the
10 minutes.
Okay. Are the children still receiving the amount of minutes that they need to receive for each of those subject areas? So when they're in there for 50 minutes, do they take away from their academics in math, in reading, and social studies? Then is it taking away from the academics?
So the nice thing about advisory is that it is flexible as far as where we can put it. We just received that same concern from another parent, and we're looking to mitigate that. But to answer, it would need to replace 15 minutes somewhere, right? So short answer is yes. It was a great question that was elevated by a parent that we're looking into, like how to mitigate those things. So, those minutes can be made up for some.
So, can we then look at the amount of minutes that you typically get into each subject, and if those minutes are being, in other words, are we in compliance with the state? In terms of the minutes that we have to give, and if we're not, we don't want our children to be missing out on their academics. So I mean, it is a wonderful idea to have peace circles and everything, we can talk about it and share it for some time, but it can't be.
At the expense of another, yeah,
Right.
And that makes sense. Like I said, that concern was raised by a really astute parent yesterday, I believe. And we've been looking and reaching out to different people to see how we can mitigate that.
So we could have an answer to that in a week from now, or, less than that? I mean,
It would need to be like as soon as possible.
Right, so that we can see, and make some adjustments to that. Then in addition to that, could we, we've been hearing this for years now, just what India said, that our students are rushed through the lunch line. They're standing there in line, for 10 minutes, and then they have to swallow their food in another 10. So I think that we can also perhaps consider where those 10 minutes would be, might be more advantageous, to consider that, and children might feel better having been, able to eat your lunch a little more comfortably, having a little more time. And it's also the socialization, they're able to talk more with each other, and so it gives them 10 more minutes, for camaraderie. So I think that would, as opposed to when you're coming in, in the morning, just kind of trying to rush into the building, and then, what are you doing for those 10 minutes? So I think that maybe that also can be taken into consideration, that the 10 minutes were given to the lunch period.
Did you have any other questions?
Is that something that can be done?
It was voted on already, I don't believe so.
No changes can be made to the schedule, is what you're saying, just to be
Yeah,
clear?
she's asking.
I mean, we can go back and vote.
Teachers go back and vote, I don't believe so.
Well, the children didn't vote for the.
They didn't vote.
An amended vote. I mean, I don't know what the new contract, but in the past, we've been able to do amended votes.
But I mean, the only the.
I think it's too much change now.
Okay.
Okay, and I had a quick question. So I think this was partly answered, so if that's 50 minutes from the middle school, then they start at 9, they're not going to eat before.
They eat in the classroom.
Okay. But there's no, I guess, well, let's start with this. So the Seekas are gonna be on the turf at 8:45 every morning? Is that the plan?
Not every single seat, the majority.
Okay, so if parents.
Basically kindergarten through 3rd grade.
Oh, right, yeah, so if parents of kindergartners through 3rd graders, they can leave their child in the care of a Sika starting at 8:45 in the morning?
That is correct.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify. And the lining up plan for, I guess, kinder through third grade outside, they're gonna be lining up the whole year.
Unless it's inclement weather.
Yeah, and that you said, you guys, the inclement weather is still being worked out, right?
Well, in essence, it's opening up the doors at 8:45,
Okay.
and instead of the kids lining up outside, it's
But
gonna be
the,
the hallway.
okay, but the plan is that there's the option to leave your kids in a line starting at 8:45
That is correct.
every day for the whole school year.
That is correct.
Okay, and
Whether
then,
it's
yeah,
indoors or out.
right, and then kinder through third then would wait until 9 and go into the, and then they go physically go into school.
So we are peeling them off
Okay.
in a staggered entry.
Okay.
8:45, the seekers are there waiting for the kids to line up. About 10 minutes later, 8:50, kindergarten peels off. They take the little sidewalk, I guess,
Okay.
to door 5. Pre-K has its own entry, and then everyone else comes through door 3.
And no.
Basically a minute after.
Okay. And then, so like the middle school kids who now are supposed to start at 9, they're not able to enter until 9, right?
So if you're talking about 4th through 8th.
I'm talking about the middle school kids, because those are the ones that, am I ready, those,
So
yeah.
4th through 8th.
Middle school is,
Well, let me.
yeah, that's what I'm asking about, 6 to 8.
So let me, 4th through 8th is door 7. So what we decided to do, again, based on what we heard from parents, was to actually have the door open early. So at 8:40, we are allowing everyone to come in who's using kissing. Right? They go into the auditorium. Now at 9 o'clock, or say 8:59, to give the kids an opportunity to pick up breakfast, they go directly into their classroom for breakfast. Where the teachers are already waiting for them at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
The reason why they're waiting for them at 9 o'clock is because they voted to have those 10 minutes first. Now, if you're talking about 4th and 5th, they will be able to eat starting around 8:45 in the auditorium. And then they'll be escorted upstairs to their classroom. Everyone else, kinder through 3rd, that's coming in through the turf, they're going to be lined up outside of the classroom, waiting for their teacher to receive them at 9:10.
Okay.
Clarifying
Yes.
question, and there will be for families who have mixed age kids at
Kiss and
8:40?
go, kiss and go, door 7, we take 8:40.
Right, but there will be designated staff at the auditorium to direct those young children on where they're supposed to go.
That is correct. We have staff inside of the auditorium to watch those groups. We also have roamers, right? So for those that trickle in late, they're directed to it.
So if you're a parent, the earliest you can drop off your kinder through
If you're
8.
using Kiss and
If you're, yes, I was just going to say, if you're using Kiss and Go and you're a parent, the earliest you can drop off your child is 8:40.
Correct.
If they're kinder through 8.
Right, and well, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
whoever you have.
Well,
as
your
long as you-
pre-K is a little,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So yeah, and I want to take the opportunity to elevate, like, this will only work if Kiss and Go is used
That's why
properly.
I'm asking.
We have already had people just park in the middle of Kiss and Go, and that just slows down everything. So in the newsletter that I'm gonna be sending out on Sunday, I'm just gonna appeal to everyone, just please listen to the directions that you're being given by seekers or in the.
And the directions are you pull up, someone gets your child from the car. You will not necessarily see your child physically go in, but you're entrusting them in the care of a staff member, and then you drive off.
Right,
Yeah.
so at 8:45, there's a lot of seekers there, but then they have to go and line up at the turf, right? But there's always gonna be at least 3 people, 1 person on the sidewalk, 1 person at the door, 1 person in the auditorium, starting at 8:40. And that's gonna be augmented by a floater that we also have kind of helping with directing traffic from that time. I think it's good because in that way, the students trickle in instead of having to wait. And that's the biggest feedback that we got from our parents. It was just a lot of kids waiting. At least this way they'll be waiting inside, sitting down, not right by the.
I just want to, I'm closer to the microphone, and so I just want to also appeal to parents, so in case they didn't hear what Principal Sias said about not parking in the Kiss and Go and helping it keep it safe. And we also got an email to the LSC this afternoon that parents were also using the middle lane and letting their kids out in the middle of the street. So please, in order for the new procedures to work, really asking parents to not let kids out in the middle of the road. Lo quiero decir en español solo para asegurar que se está escuchando, que por favor los padres de familia apoyen al Kiss and Go en la parte de enfrente para asegurar que uno no se estacionen ahí para bloquearlo y por favor no dejen a sus hijos en medio de la calle para cruzar las dos vías. Entonces queremos asegurar que es lo más seguro posible y gracias por la colaboración de todos y todas.
Are there any other questions about, yes. And then just a reminder, we do have a hard stop at 8 and at 6. So.
Okay, so we're using the seekers at that time in the morning.
Yes.
Is there, are we violating anything in the contract with the seekers?
No.
They are, because I know seekers would not allow to do monitoring of the playground. You know, the lunchroom monitoring.
We're not in violation of any.
So
CPS
so what
policy.
they're doing in the beginning of the day, those 10 minutes and we're not gonna hear later on that they were.
I do have a question. How about,
And we're always looking for parents as well, so if any parent wants to sign up now.
if we are having a child who has a SICA come into the building at 8:45,
That's a great question, yeah. So
is it, but don't you legally need to have that SICA with that student?
started the school days at 9, right? So we have made adjustments. They are, I'm not gonna talk about individual students, but if there's a student that needs special care, we have assigned one individual teacher to SICA, rather, to ensure that they're able to come into the school safely.
But, okay, if we see that one kid who, if we, and not just one, if we see some of these kids that are assigned and they're IEP SICAs and we are letting them into the building at 8:45, some of them are fine, maybe fine, right? But if we are seeing like a consistent pattern of like maybe there are some kids that obviously really need that adult with them, will you make adjustments to make sure those child's need is being met?
As long as it's possible, yeah, of course.
Because I know SICAs, it's like not even just for academics, it's also usually for safety as well. So, yeah, that was my question. Anyway, thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to just recommend that we move on
Yeah,
to
that's what I
the,
was gonna say.
next point.
The last question on this topic. Could you please explain then the prep time that's provided to the teachers for the cultural events that you said you lined up with urban gateways?
The culture enrichment days. Yeah, so just like last year, the scheduling of it is gonna look a little bit different, right? Because of the new schedule and everything else. But the idea is the same, offer a block of time. Hopefully we can squeeze out 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, just like we did last year. During those 2-hour blocks, it's an opportunity for pre-K through 3rd grade to meet, work on curriculum, work on looking at Skyline and looking at those great social studies standards that they could implement in their curriculum of Las Americas. Same thing in the afternoon. So those 2-hour blocks are offered for that time. It's also an opportunity to have the dual language coordinator, the ELPT, give presentations, work with individual teachers, work with group of teachers. It's also an opportunity for the SPED department, more importantly, to work on accommodations for lessons and general plans that have been completed. So it worked well, I think, last year. We're looking to make it better this year, but the idea is the same. Block of time, once a month, for the entire school, just in different parts of the day. That requires a special schedule, obviously, for that specific day once a month. But we made it work last year. We're gonna make it work again this year. The only difference is for those cultural enrichment days, we do have, space is always a concern, but we wouldn't be able to invite every single parent to these cultural enrichment days, but what we're thinking is on a rotating basis, like parents of 3rd grade can come during one of these cultural enrichment days. And then the next month, maybe parents from 5th and 6th grade, right? Obviously giving them enough notice so they can make arrangements, but we wouldn't be able to fit all of the parents, right? But we can have it on a rotating basis, so at least they can go to one of them. The balcony is off limits. It's just not conducive to have people up there. But even with pre-K to 3rd grade, for example, there should be enough space to accommodate parents from at least one grade, if not two.
And when you put it in principal's report, you could at least give the tentative cultural events.
So we have the dates already firmed up.
It's in the principal's report.
It is. I could email that to you.
Yeah, you can email it. And as much as possible, also, we already have the date about the cultural event itself. Even if it's
The cultural enrichment days, yes.
Yeah,
We're planned out for the year.
right, but then you can see you already have the activity.
Oh, that's a great question, and that's a little tricky because that's really at the availability of whatever artist is actually performing. But one of the firmer things is actually working with our cultural and climate team to actually have students kind of practicing for a performance on those days. So that would be easier for me to share once I have that.
And I know.
Okay, we have to move on. Like we cannot.
have to tie this to curriculum.
So can you speak up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we would like the opportunity to tie it in more to our curriculum if possible. So we're looking at what's going on.
With this
our
year-
dual language program
Yeah.
and what can come up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one option. The other option is to, in addition to urban gateways, is also to invite authors, right, to do a reading, depending on the age group, right? Another opportunity for presentations from our restorative justice coordinator or our counselor or our social worker, right?
Right, I'm gonna just ask that you guys have this conversation by email and BCC the rest of us, so we don't violate OMIA, because we really have to move on. Because we have to be at an 8. The reason we spent so much time on this was because there have been 5 emails about procedures in less than a week, and more than just me have received a lot of comments from parents. And I felt like it was important to spend time, but we gotta move on. So let's go to the principal report, and Principal Zayas, you don't need to read every slide, just kind of briefly go over what you'd like to say.
Yeah, I'll just, to be brief, I'll just elevate certain things.
And then, I'm sorry to interrupt, just as a reminder, we'll hold our questions till the end.
And we didn't go into questions about this, and so just wanted to clarify for the public who are not aware of why I asked for this report around the changes to the teachers have been moved, that 6 teachers were moved to different grades this year. Some of that requires additional training on certain curriculum, which hasn't happened yet, and so concerns about ensuring that they have the materials they need, that they have the training that they need, and when that's happening, and ensuring that it's scheduled because the school year has already begun, and so concerns about our specific curriculum to make sure they're prepared, and that there's a kindergarten and a 3rd grade class that does not have a permanent teacher right now, and so wanting to know what the support plan is for that. I recognize that we didn't have time to go into that, and so requesting that we could get an update before the next principal report, but that it be included in the next principal report.
Thank you, yeah, 6 teachers from 6 different grades, and they were notified on the last 2 days of school. Go ahead.
Sure. So starting on page 3, basically what I wanted to elevate there is just the main focus of this year, which is going to be to look at prioritizing our instructional practices to strengthen Spanish language development across all grade levels. We're doing that in various ways. One of the ways I just commented on with answering Ms. Rosa's question, and just ensuring that we are recommitting not just the teachers, but looking for opportunities to have recommitment from parents on our vision for the school. Moving on to 4. Here I just wanted to elevate our language allocation schedule. This is what was has been approved by OME in page 4. And we already spoke at length about Kiss and Go, so I'm just going to move on to 5. Under continuous improvement, really happy and proud to say that Inter-American Magna School is ranked number 42 in Chicago in a recent independent analysis of public elementary schools. And there's some information there as to how they came up with that. The next bullet is with regards to how we're going to be using data to target small group instruction. 6, as mentioned before, curriculum of Las Americas is part of that commitment. To Margarita's point, it is one of the many things that sets us apart from other regional language programs. And what we want to do is to lean on Skyline to actually make sure that it is not just thematic, but actually an actual complete curriculum by supporting it with social studies standards through Skyline. And continuing to develop what the teachers already have created. 7, we are looking at instructional strategies, so co-developing lessons to ensure language allocation with fidelity. One of the things that the ILT is actually pushing forward is with a Skyline protocol called unit internalization. It's not Skyline specific. It's something that teachers that have created their own curriculum can use to see if there are holes to make improvements. The protocol itself helps to align whatever it's used against to ensure that it's actually high quality. 8, balanced assessments. So we're looking through the ILT to help teachers use Skyline assessments. It's not something that is required. Some teachers have their own assessments, but the difference with Skyline is that those Skyline assessments are standards aligned. They're aligned to the curriculum content and materials that's offered through Skyline. I highly suggest that the LSC do take a look at the boxes in what is going to be called the Skyline Bodega for all the materials that have been coming in. We are still waiting on a few things, but the materials has already been delivered. All right. 9, looking at family and community engagement. So post the back to school bash, we are looking at, again, other opportunities to welcome parents into the building. Has been mentioned already before with the Cultural Enrichment Days as one opportunity, but also looking at open house for the 4th of September. Moving on to 10, connectedness and well-being. We're going to be providing and have already started providing staff with professional development on SEL. That's being done through both our counselor and our restorative justice coordinator. Again, we're short on time, so I'm kind of skipping to 11, systems and culture. Refining entry and supervision plans. That's, as I mentioned, we are listening to feedback. We are implementing those feedbacks. If it's at all possible, to just make it, make the kiss and go work, to make drop off work, and the new schedule with the changes work. 12, again, providing and making sure that we are continuing to provide opportunities for the teachers to improve their practice. I think the decision that was made between the ILT and the dual language leadership team last year to have, for each of them to take on 2 individual learning cycles with different focuses is something that I think the teachers are going to be really benefiting from. Currently, they are going through a learning cycle of looking at linguistic spaces and setting up those linguistic spaces as it aligns to our staff handbook and the non-negotiables. And is just trying to get those spaces ready for students as quickly as possible and maintaining them throughout the year. 13, continue to build a school environment with a diverse voices from staff. Next week, the student rep and I will be meeting to discuss what concerns he might have or his colleagues might have. He's my boss for that 30 minutes when we meet, so I'm really looking forward to meeting with him and chatting with him. Distributed leadership, 14, which is the last one. We'll continue to empower the ILT and the dual language members to look at data and use data in their learning cycles. The network has provided a really good tool that we're going to be rolling out that pulls data from different sources. The idea, and this is still in the kind of planning phases in my head, the idea is to create what years ago was called a bag report, which pulls different data like attendance, grades, and things like that. And it would be something that the students can actually bring home, so a printed copy of basically maybe a monthly progress report. I think that's really good for parents to see that, so they're aware where their child is. Moving on to 16, is that right? 15? 16. There's a link for a tentative organizational chart. 17 are the time breakdowns for lunch and recess, which was asked for. And then lastly, these are the numbers of our current enrollment as of, I want to say around like 6 days ago. That is it.
Do you want to guys do what we normally do, which is just go from the top down, and if there are questions, we go through them? It's 6:24, just remind me. Yeah.
Okay, so
wait, what did you?
So I was just gonna say, instead of going through slide by slide, I think if people just have like the topics, because I feel like in the past it's gone.
Organizational leadership.
Yeah, is there any questions for that? Being mindful of time.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I would just block.
Okay, just keep going, Jess, if you have the computer.
Domain 2, the instructional core. Skyline, assessment data. No, domain 3, climate and culture. Domain 4, talent. I have a question. I've emailed you twice about, because this is professional development, about foundations trainings, and I've yet to hear back.
So foundations training, that potentially is something that
There's
we,
resources, because that's, as I guess let me, for everybody who's here. We do Estrellita, which is, for like the foundationals of Spanish phonics, like the literacy foundations. Over like 16 years, I've done many different ones. Estrellita has been the one that I've seen the most success with. It's amazing, it's multimodality, so it really connects with, you know, the different way the students learn. And the great thing about it was it aligned us from pre-K now to second. Foundations is the same idea, Foundations Wilson Foundations is the same idea of the phonics through multimodality, with the different kinds of multimodalities, are like visual learning, movement, but for English. And that was a big thing too, is like, you know, I know we've been talking about even for our, you know, our ELLs, like, we needed to have some consistency with how we are teaching this, and that one grade flows to the next, like we're doing with Estrellita now. So I emailed Principal Zayas. I know last year, kindergarten, which I was a part of, we got kind of, Ms. Oric really graciously tried to find materials for us, and then trained us to the best that she could. I mean, it was informal training, but it was something to start us off. So we did it last year. First grade doesn't have it. Second grade had it. Basically, no, they didn't have training. There's been no training. There's only certain boxes here and there for foundations. And I emailed Principal Zayas twice already with my team, on behalf of my team, because my team wanted training, because we want to have consistency with our English language, phonics, learning from kindergarten to second grade. I think it even goes beyond that, but I haven't heard back, so.
So thank you for sending that email 2 days ago.
Emails, there was two.
Yep, 2. So yeah, I think that would be something wonderful. The question is how we pay for it. So luckily, I believe it was last night I checked, and we just received one of our payments from Cubs for $19,000. So that potentially can be a resource for foundations if that's what the LSC wants to do.
It seems like there's also, I will say that there was like, we don't have these materials, and then when I was moved and I had left with a classroom full of stuff I had to clean out, I found a bunch of boxes of foundations in there, not for every grade. There's one box for like first. There's 2 boxes for, I believe, second or third. So I think we also, like, you need to reach out to staff and say if they have foundations in their room, so please respond so we can keep track of what we have, so then we know what to buy. Because just buying all new sets, if we already have some, would just be a waste of money, and we need money, period.
So what's the action plan? Just so we're trying to keep.
So action plan,
Like,
I
what
would say is
does
Principal
Principal Zayas
Zayas
do?
can email staff asking for, that if they have foundations, materials in their room, to respond to him with what they have.
In like a time frame of how long do you want the teachers? Like a week, or? I mean, what your teacher, what's reasonable?
Oh, I mean, a week, you just look.
Yeah, okay, a week.
And
then what?
And then from there, look and see what we have, create a quote, or get a quote for what we need.
Okay.
And then if you could share that with the LSC so we see what
So we can do that by the September 11th meeting. That's why I'm asking. Okay.
Because right now I'm trying to our team is trying to do foundations without the materials, which is not, is what it is. It's not really, And with the little training, like I'm just doing my best, but we're all doing our best,
Let's
but
do.
bless you. And then do you have, so that's for that.
That's reasonable, right, principal size?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we'll do that.
You
So
would have
I-
to, this is not my job.
Yeah, that's why we just asked for
So-
action then.
Yeah, so I can add that to the staff newsletter and also send it as a separate email. Give those deadlines.
And then we'll review it at this next meeting, regular meeting. Okay,
And
so
then the last question I have is about, just a follow-up on Estrellita. I know originally when we tried to do it, it was like an old quote, but then they did not, they fell out of becoming vendors. Do we know if they're vendors
I
again?
believe they are vendors again, yes.
Do we make the orders?
So we could revisit that because that needs to be approved again.
That's a big one, because I did
I
have
know.
a couple teachers come up to me asking me about if we had voted for those Estrellita books because they needed to start it and they don't have them.
Okay, so for September 11th meeting, Principal Zeiss, you'll give us this SRE quote so that we can vote on it. And then the email to the teachers, ask them to respond in a week if they have foundations sitting in a corner in their classroom.
I will say,
And then-
we have money for one of the.
And then
libraries.
quote what we would need to fill in the holes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
The one thing I would like to clarify though, in terms of I understand funding is an issue. It wasn't too long ago that we were looking to figure out how to pay for consumables at the end of the year. So I want to be clear on if there is funds within our current budget that could be used to purchase consumables now, and we use that money, and then if we need additional funding, we can go into our Cubs unrestricted funding. But it makes more sense to use restricted curriculum materials funding to use that now, especially as Estrellita is foundational in this.
so when the line items are written for these potential transfers, we
To go
draw from the consumables.
first.
I mean, from the funds that will expire at the end of the fiscal year. Okay.
1.5.
Anything else? What's the
I
next?
will just say, most important, so is that we do have a quote to vote on for Estrellita on September because they needed to start that like soon.
So we're gonna have both to vote on for September, that's the plan, right? Yeah, other.
And then so we're still on the need for talent. I don't know if people do that. Does anybody have questions of any of it?
For the
report?
Yeah, for going to the talent one, I'd like to request, the link to the organizational chart is restricted and I'd like to, that I can't download it to put it in the Google folder, so that I can have that as an attachment to our meeting notes today. So requesting to please, be sent the organizational chart, as a independent PDF. And, regarding that, what additional, just going back to my initial question, I realize that it's the first week of school, but I'm really concerned about the kindergarten and third grade class who do not have permanent teachers. And it, again, feels like a deja vu from third graders last year. And kindergarten especially, I'm really concerned about the need for stability and who the subs are for that to provide, making sure that they are Spanish speakers and how we can support having as much stability and consistency in those two classes. It's very concerning and disappointing that that is the case again.
With the tentative org chart, the link is set to anyone with the link, so it should work off the PDF.
Right, but it won't let me
let you
download
create
the specific org chart document that I'm going to attach separately as the
You
notes.
can open it, you
PDF
just
right
can't
now.
download anything.
Yeah,
Or just, to be able to download it. It says I can't.
I did have a question about the organizational chart. I wanted to, sorry, to clarify that we have enough, or the hourlies for recess and lunch. Because we have the same as we had last year, and I wanted to make sure that.
So I'll talk briefly on that. with the miscellaneous workers, we are still looking to fill one position. It shows up on the work chart as to be decided to. So not the struggle, but the complexity of trying to find someone who's willing to work for just 4 hours. We were lucky to find one, which is shows up as Melanie Sagala. Trying to find someone who is not only just willing to work for 4 hours, but has an interest in education, has a history with working with students. We're going to continue. We do have 2 people that we're considering. And with regards to 3rd grade, we currently have, we do have a sub, but we have a TAT, a temporary assigned teacher, who has cleared their background check, is onboarded. HR, I'm just waiting on HR to assign her.
Third grade.
Assign her to the school. And then kindergarten. And then kindergarten, we have a cadre sub who's worked with us before, and we have a very promising candidate who, if the LSC would like, I could, once they're interviewed, send them videos of the demo lesson and the like.
And my question is for both of these, I think this is like would be helpful for you, right, Jenny, is what's the timeline then for, like, so for the 3rd grade onboarding is great. What do you think the timeline is for hiring? Like, for start?
So as soon as I get an email that says they're assigned to the school, they start the next day.
And we don't know, that could be.
I have been reaching out to HR and pushing them for the last 2 weeks. But whether this is the case in HR department, I don't know, but as you know, there's been a lot of cuts all over, and there are people that are doing the job of 2 or 3 other people.
Okay, so it could be like a day, and it could be like weeks, right? Because we just don't know.
I don't
know, Dr. Chavez, I'm looking at you, because maybe you know more.
I'll lay it again, but it should be sooner rather than later.
Okay, sooner meaning like weeks rather than months, right?
I'm hoping days.
Even better. And then for the kinder teacher, then it's that's going to take obviously longer for, you have a cadre sub, but the
we have a cadre sub,
hiring
yes.
process is
the cadre sub bilingual?
Yes.
Yes, somebody who sub last
Here before.
Yeah.
That's going to take a little bit longer because we want to ensure that they have a demo lesson. We want to ensure that that you all have an opportunity to get some feedback, because that's kind of the key.
So we're talking like, in an ideal world, months, but not too many months, okay?
Weeks.
That
Ambitious.
figure like under promise of deliverance.
Okay. Months.
So I mean, since you said that, Principal Sias, I would like to follow up then with the restorative justice position that was filled, that you said we would have input from the LSC, and we were not given or even informed that you hired somebody. So do you want to address that?
Yeah, so I truly apologize for that. We came across Anna Martinez, who was really viable, and I did not want to lose her. The turnaround this summer for hiring, everything was short because budget and everything else was pushed back. So I just didn't want to lose her, but I'll make sure that with the kindergarten position, that gets short.
And so I would just note that I think proactive communication about that, because it seemed, it was very disturbing to find out on the organization chart after you had precisely said that you would include others in the process. And I understand that having a good candidate is priority, but I think an inclusive and transparent process is important. And so if that was the case, that to communicate to us directly, to inform us of that would have been the proper thing to do.
Agreed. I guess your hand went
No,
up first.
I've been waiting for
You've been
one.
waiting, okay.
Yeah. I have a question about the curriculum room and where it's located. And Mrs. Jackson mentioned that you need, like, there's a need for volunteers, and I wanted to know what kind of work the volunteers will be doing.
Sure. So the Skyline room, which we are again calling Skyline Bodega, is where the computer lab used to be. We need volunteers at this point for organizing. So units are coming in, but when they get delivered, it's piecemeal and not necessarily labeled correctly. I mean, the boxes are labeled, but some of the boxes end up broken by the time they get here. So organizing those by unit and by grade and by whether it's resource or book, etc. So the organization of that is really, really important to give the ability for teachers to actually go in, look at what they need. I think in the interim, it's really important for teachers to have those materials obviously as soon as possible. So we are looking at organizing at least the first unit and giving it to the teachers as optional for them to supplement whatever they've already created. But we're looking for right now we're looking for volunteers to organize. Hopefully, what I brought you all will get approved and volunteers to put shelving together.
Sorry, go ahead. And I know Margarita, but it's related to Skyline, so I wanted to follow.
I just wanted to say about the hiring that I met the new librarian, and I was very proud that she studied at a dual language school, and she seems lovely and she speaks really good Spanish.
And she's also looking for volunteers. She's looking for volunteers because her plan is to have students take home books and then return them at a later time. That's my understanding. But the idea then is to have volunteers to restock the shelves. So yes, plenty of opportunities to volunteer around the school.
We can all do it after our LSC meetings.
Well, we need to put the tables back.
Tell us what we need to do at our 8 p.m. stuff, which we're working on.
I just wanted to note and recognize, Principal Zayas, you're very enthusiastic for Skyline, and I'm excited about learning more about Skyline. I do believe, though, that our school is not a marketing place, and so I understand it's a CPS curriculum, but I do think that it's calling it Skyline Bodega is not in line with the values of our school, I would say, in terms of we should be curriculum of the Americas or something, but I feel like it doesn't seem appropriate to name it after something that isn't necessarily, I understand there's Skyline things in there, but I just wanted to note that it seems a little bit strange.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. Could we possibly call it something else?
It could just be curriculum room.
Yeah,
That's fine with me.
You know, the bodega or something. It's just, it's not authentic.
Okay, curriculum.
I mean, it's not as catchy, but
I just want to say we have many curriculums that we use in the school, and highlighting one over others. There's Estrellita. There's lots of other ones that we have. I just think it's strange to highlight one over the others. It doesn't seem to be in line with the values of our school.
can we just call it the curriculum room then? But unless
I'm just noting that we can call it I'm just noting that one curriculum over the other seems strange to me, but Mr. Zayas could call it something or whatever he would like to call it.
let us know what you decide on. Sounds good, Principal Zayas?
Sounds good.
Okay. Is that, yes, oh, right, you were.
Well, I have two separate comments. One is on restorative justice, because we were talking about that, and then the other one is on the Skyline. I think that if we have an opportunity, well, here, we should go see the bodega. Just for so many reasons. One is that there is a purchase order here. I saw it, I just don't see where you're gonna put all those shelves. like size-wise, and that's a whole lot of money, and that's just, the shelves.
It's a lot of money.
So we
When we get to that
6:46,
discussion.
we've got to,
Yeah.
when we get to that
But if
discussion,
we
yeah.
saw it, maybe, I'm not good with.
Okay, how about we do?
Spaces, if someone say.
Why don't we'll take a recess, like maybe for bathroom break for 5 minutes, and if people want to walk to the Skyline Bodega for 5 minutes instead of going to the bathroom or both, that seems like a reasonable way.
Let's just call it La Bodega.
Yeah, oh, right, yeah. Maybe we'll recess like before the new business or something, because people might need a break. Right? Okay.
Okay, that's the question I have with restorative justice. When we were on that topic. Okay, so, Mr. Chavez, you're saying that the person you hired, you couldn't just, let her, let her go. So I'm trying to understand that, because I think that someone who needs a job, will wait around until you get a hold of your LSC or, the commitment that you made to us, and I think that that's important. You made a commitment to us. It is dealing with restorative justice, and we're trying to incorporate it into our school climate. For you to have said, it's in the minutes, it's in the video, you're saying this to us. And, we took you at your word. And this is an important, we were supposed to have met with this person. We were supposed to have looked at the last 3 people that you're going to interview. These are the 3. You can have Ms. Martinez. You can have Ms. Martinez among, how many did you have? How many people did you have interviewed for that position?
We interviewed about 2. A lot of them did not have let me answer your question. A lot of them did not have the qualifications to be in the program. She was one of the few Spanish-speaking restorative justice coordinators that we came across.
So she has done that before?
She has done youth intervention at a different school.
I think
at this point, I don't want to talk specifics about her.
I know, but I think that it needs to be noted that, that it isn't, I'm sorry that this is happening, it's a commitment you made to us, and we're starting out wrong. We're starting out wrong with this particular person that you hired. We did wonderful with the librarian, you presented to us, the videos and everything else, and, this is an important position, this is a new position in our school, that is supposed to help our school climate, so it would have been really, a really good idea, to at least attempt it, if everybody was on vacation, and you could have said nobody was around.
Yeah, and Margarita's point is it could have been handled better. You can always send an email being like, hey guys, we had 2 don't speak Spanish very well or whatever. I have 1 fabulous candidate. We don't have a lot of time, but I just want you to know that this is happening. That's really what right, communication. Like us having to ask after the fact, trying to piece this together, going back and looking in the video and seeing multiple times it was mentioned. It's also mentioned like parents being involved. Like a simple email would have probably been helpful, and people who were around and had time, maybe they've been like, and some people who don't. That's what you're saying. Thank you. Yeah.
I'd like to move to the chair update, and then move to have the dual action committee and FELE reports be written and not spoken.
Okay. I think that's fine. The chair update is like 30 seconds. FELE.
But I made a motion to have those read and not said. I think we need a second.
Yeah.
And
did we receive the FELE?
I did not, so I don't know if we.
So just for clarity for everyone, because it's the first regular meeting to start the school year. Last year we didn't we would will like a student rep report, but we weren't going to make you do one because you just started. And so similarly, I think FELE was given the option to do it, but not required because again, there was not a lot going on over summer.
I think the first meeting is
next week. Yeah. And then, so exactly. So I think that's fine. And then I think the dual language, Margarita, so you had wanted to present it, but I think we can move it to written in the interest of time. So is there a second to move dual language action plan committee report and FELE report, or it's really just dual language action plan because we don't have a FELE report, to written? Second, yeah. All in favor of doing that? Can you just raise your hand or say aye?
Just for
I mean,
time.
it's all, yeah, you always see the,
Yeah.
the recording.
Right, okay, so nobody opposed, right? Everyone was in favor. Okay, great. So then the chair update will be super quick, and then we're gonna keep going because we have a hard stop at 8 o'clock, and nothing is not ambitious. So, hi everyone, I'm Julie Wexler. I'm the chair of the local school council. If you don't know me, most of you do. I'm the chair because no one else wants the job. I'm not lying. But welcome back to the start of the school year. This is Justin, our vice chair, Justin Zia, and then nobody wanted his job either. And that's the job that nobody really did. Nobody really wanted Jenny Dale's job. She's the secretary over there, the one who's taking notes, and she was out of the country and had little say in that decision. I'm just joking. Anyway, I hope everyone had a great summer vacation. I want us to get off to a great start, but I also want to be clear and transparent and talk about uncomfortable stuff. So I do want to provide an update, especially for new families or community members listening, as to the charges that were brought against Principal Zayas and the resulting investigation by the Law Investigation Unit. As you may be aware, the Inter-American Local School Council brought formal charges against Principal Zayas on October 9th, following a letter detailing these charges sent October. This was followed by a letter detailing the charges sent October 23rd, 2024, where we requested an investigation into his behavior and removal during the investigation. Exactly 45 days later, as per school code, we were notified by then CEO Martinez that the LIU was reviewing the matter, and the principal would remain in place until the review had concluded. Prior to this, we had unanimously passed a no confidence vote on August 8th in the principal, which was followed by a letter to then CEO Martinez August 14th, also requesting an investigation into his removal. I have permission from the legal department to share the following, which I'm quoting. The investigation referenced in former CEO Martinez's December 6, 2024 letter has concluded. However, the matter remains open pending further review by the district. So I just wanted to share that update. Otherwise, I hope that we can all work together for the best of the kids and the teachers and the staff. We have an amazing community in America, and we shouldn't take that lightly. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Can you send that to me, Julie?
Absolutely. That takes us to old business. Okay, so LSC vacancy. So as we discussed this very briefly at the special meeting after the organizational meeting, we have a parent vacancy on the LSC. That's because our prior member who has served for many, many years on the LSC, her child graduated, and so she now no longer has a child at the school. So the tentative plan was that we would announce the vacancy today, like more formally, which we're doing. And then per my talk with Ms. Winding from LSC Relations, and we have Ms. Ford over there from LSC Relations too, the understanding was that we waited until the school year to be clear to announce the vacancy, because that's not, that is considered best practice. So that's why. And then we should be giving at least 2 weeks minimum, I think, is what they recommend, time from the time we announce the position and make the materials available, which we had discussed, the application materials, like Principal Zayas would send them out. But what the plan was to have him send an email, and then in addition, for anyone who, to make sure that it's accessible for everyone, we could have a paper copy. Yes?
If I remember correctly, the forms are on the LSC portion of the website. The application forms.
Yeah, we just need to make sure
we want to make sure
include
it's
the
like
links.
communicated. Yeah. So Principal Zayas, to update you, we're on the LSC vacancy part, and we're officially saying that we have a vacancy now that the school year has started, a parent vacancy. We're going to ask you to email out, or Mr. Avila to email out the announcing the vacancy and attaching the forms. And then I think also, so that it's accessible to everyone, like a paper copy, maybe you could leave it in the office, and in your email announcement, and I or Justin or one of us or Jenny are happy to send you like a little paragraph about it, saying that if you choose to do it by paper, then come to the office and then submit your packet or forms to the office. And then we want the other application to go to our secretary, right, Jenny?
That the applications, yes, please
If
send.
if you're doing it electronically, you send it to Jenny, right? And if you're doing it in paper, then just drop it off at the office, pick it up and drop it off at the office, and then someone from the office will let Jenny know to collect them. The next question then is we wanted to give a minimum of 2 weeks for turnaround time for the deadline to submit, right? Because best practice was 2 weeks. Our next meeting is September 11th because we're trying to do the meetings at the beginning of the month rather than the end of the month. So that's kind of tight. The next meeting after that is October 2nd. So I think there was just a question of if we do the September 11th is the meeting where we discuss this and then discuss during closed session and vote publicly. That would give us, I mean, what kind of turnaround time are people comfortable with?
I mean, I would say that it could be on I mean, I don't know. I think having a vacancy filled as soon as possible would be nice, but I also, has been urgency in the past more because we don't have enough for quorum.
Right,
and
it's not an
rush.
emergency situation. If it were, we would have had to do it in the summer.
I would recommend that we move forward with the October meeting and have the plan be that those who apply come prepared to read their statement as we did in the past and kind of present themselves, and then we vote on it that meeting.
And then with your proposal, when do you want the deadline of like submitting in the application to be?
I think if we have, the week before, so we have time to read the applications.
So like Thursday, September 25th?
I don't know what other thing. I mean, that sounds fine to me.
I mean, that's 5 weeks. That's very generous. Like, I don't want to rush it either. Does anyone else have any thoughts about? Yes.
I think we should get the information out there and do it as soon as possible because just in the history, it takes a while to get people to even try to get on.
Yeah, so we're gonna, we'll probably ask principal's eyes to send it out tomorrow or Monday, right?
You can send an email.
Yeah, we got a little.
Could we just do it in the newsletter for Monday?
I would prefer a separate email because there's a lot in the newsletter. So we'll send it out right away. I think it's just, we got a little screwed by the meeting, today's meeting is because we wanted to meet after school started, and then we tried to do early meetings so that the dates are just a little off. What did you want to say, Justin?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if anyone was opposed to doing it in September. I mean, I understand October gives us more time, but I'm in the camp of it really is in the best interest to have us full of a body, especially because we're at the beginning of the year, right? We want this person to, we want to support them and have them involved as early as possible. But if the community, or excuse me, if the LSC feels that community would need more time to think about joining, that's a whole other thing. But 3 weeks to me seems like a lot of time, enough time.
I mean, it would be 2 weeks for the application and 1 week for us to review.
Right. Pardon me. Yes, but even then, that seems to me like enough time. But again, I'm totally open to hearing anything else.
What timeline did you guys do last?
I agree. I feel sorry. I do think.
I mean, last time?
I mean, there were lots of things there. I think I've filled 2 vacancies and both have been very different. So I don't think there necessarily has to be a precedent from that.
I mean, maybe we don't get anybody, right? But I just feel like I think there's more of a chance to get somebody on
early when they're enthusiastic.
So let's do it.
Okay, is anyone opposed to, doing a 2 week turnaround time from the time that materials go out? Or, are you guys okay, for example, we could have the deadline be Monday, September 8th? Does that give everyone enough time to review it? That gives people an extra weekend. Parents, that's why I'm opposite. And then we would have until Thursday, the 11th, and that gives everybody
anybody writes books about it.
Yeah. And they come and present it anyway, I think that's fine. I support that. So the proposal, just to be clear on the timeline, would be that Principal Zayas includes it in the newsletter this coming Sunday.
So he sends a separate email.
Right, well, he's gonna do that.
Yeah.
Right.
separate email newsletter.
Email and newsletter this upcoming, and then the deadline is September 8th.
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. That extra weekend for procrastinators might be what they need. And then then Jenny, you will send out the information about the candidates, should we get any. And we'll all review it, and then we'll have them read their statements at the September 11th meeting, and then we'll have a closed session, and then a public vote.
And just confirming, Julie, that you're writing the text of
Sure.
what this is, or is there somebody else going to do that?
I mean, don't all jump at once, but.
The text of
And as soon as I get that.
Yeah,
I'll
I
put
mean-
an email.
All the announcement?
Add it to the to-do list. It's basically just like, I mean, this Ford, if you want to weigh in, it's literally like, we have a parent vacancy. Attached,
We
or
encourage you
this
to
is the
apply.
materials you fill out. We encourage all to apply. It's like, the deadline is this, if you can't do it electronically, come to the office, take the paperwork, bring it back, and then be prepared to read your statement at the meeting on September 11th. Anybody have anything else to add? Great.
And that, yeah, my contact as a secretary would be where it's sent to.
Okay, so that was quick, which is great. B was budget clarification. I think there were some questions surrounding the budget. I can start off if you want, because mine is more of like, I got the answer from you at the agenda planning meeting, Principal Size, but I just wanted to make sure it was announced here. So it appears that, and Dr. Travis can weigh in, there is no OST money, and we don't think we're getting it, right?
So we don't know yet.
We don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
this makes me happy.
that announcement is still pending, so.
Okay.
It's not a yes, it's not a no. We're waiting, I think they said maybe in 2 weeks to find out officially what the status is.
And just for parents at home, OST is funding that supports after-school programming, so out-of-school time, for those who don't know.
Yeah, for people that are looking for after school. Yeah, what did you want to say?
Will Cele be providing some after-school activities too?
So we're in conversations with them. My suggestion to them, if they want to continue, is to provide a split. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
My suggestion to them is, in lieu of the fact that, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get OST. It looks highly unlikely, given the fact that with all the budget cuts.
And we have no timeline, like no idea. It could be, okay.
So, yeah.
That's why I wanted to talk about it publicly so that everyone can understand.
Yeah. So, my suggestion to Fele was that they should become a CPS vendor. It gets a little tricky because there's a lot of hoops to becoming a CPS vendor. My other suggestion to them was potentially to partner up with Right at School. And that's why I invited them here. If the chair would like them to be recognized, they can answer any questions of how that potentially could look.
So how did we do it last year as Escuelita?
Yeah,
There were no.
So we had, they signed they had permission from the principal to be in the building. They had teachers do a secondary employment form. There was funding that OST provided, so we mirrored Escuelita with the OST clubs, so security could be paid, etc. So that was somewhat viable, and even so, I didn't feel 100% comfortable doing it that way.
Why? Why weren't you comfortable? Just trying to understand?
Why wasn't I comfortable doing it that way? So one of the things is with OST, there is a dedicated person for OST clubs. Escuelita didn't necessarily have that, or at least that wasn't communicated to me. So I just would feel more comfortable if they became a vendor.
Yeah, you go first. I have a question.
What do you mean dedicated person? Like,
So OST has a dedicated OST clerk, as an OST liaison. Those roles were filled. I'm not sure if Escuelita had those roles filled.
I was the liaison.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have one.
So then, why does it matter if they're a CPS vendor or not?
They're the parent organization, so they're friends of, and they're
Yeah.
nonprofit that are parents of the school, teachers of the school, so it's like not an independent nonprofit, but they're an organization connected to the school.
Correct, they're a 501c3.
Right,
They should-
but they're
Could
the,
we
So why does
find
it
out
matter?
clarification if are we breaking any rules? If
Yeah,
Escuelita, if FLA runs Escuelita or after school activities at the school?
right.
Can we find out if they need to be,
I mean, that's why I'm asking why.
or
that is,
if,
yeah.
if what we were doing last year is okay? Can we find out?
We have traditionally had after school outside of
I think,
Yeah.
It was run by the clerk, which certainly we don't want to put anything else on Ms. Garcia's plate. However, it has been done before.
yeah, so I don't understand why this is, why do you want them to be a vendor principal size? Maybe that's a question to ask.
Because it takes a while.
So it just it ensures that the responsibility of students and where they're at falls on someone who has insurance, someone who has people that they're hiring that's vetted, etc. So again, that was my suggestion. I'm gonna see if that can actually continue.
If what could continue,
If Escuelita can continue.
as is, like, with, as is.
As is, the
Okay.
issue then becomes they are going to need to pay for security, in addition to paying for teachers.
Okay. Could you maybe come up with a cost?
Because-
sorry, could we have a couple of conversations? I just want to make sure, I know there's a lot of questions at home, so, and I can't, I'm having a hard time hearing Principal Sias, and I know for sure they can't hear me at home. So could we just clarify again, very clearly, concretely, what Principal Sias would feel comfortable with, so we can, because FELE representatives are not here, we just want to make sure that information is clear and that parents are clear on what you would feel comfortable with, and if we could ask potentially support from network chief if we need clarification.
And I think what we also need clarification, it's not just what you feel comfortable with, but like what is a role and what is not. I think
what is
that's-
required.
So again, if we were to continue with Escuelita, we need to make sure that all the teachers have a secondary form of employment form filled out. My understanding was that they all did.
Last
In
year.
addition to that, security would need to be paid. OST, that funding was paying for security, and security was kind of providing security for both programs. So that's something additional that needs to be done. Yeah, so, and the insurance piece, I think, would be kind of a sticky situation that could be remedied if they were a vendor.
And what is the situation
Security.
Yeah,
about
what's the insurance?
Since it's taught by, my understanding is that the people doing Escuelita are our own teachers. And so in terms of the partnership between FELE and the school would be that because they're in a school building, our insurance would cover them as Inter-American.
That is definitely a question for Dr.
I also have a question about.
Can we let Dr. Tabos answer that one question first? Jesse?
Yeah.
So just to clarify.
It's a complex question,
Uh-huh.
and I think we just need to get some information
Okay.
to share with you, because there are some complexities around, like, space usage outside of school hours, who's running the program, insurance, even just employment requirements as to who's part of it. So, I'd rather get a little bit of research and share it with the principals, I guess, to share with you. And then we can make a better informed decision as to what the next steps.
I just have a question about the secondary employment thing. I had to do it when I worked for Fleet Feet years ago for fun. But then, I've done programs that were not run by CPS, but that were here at the school that I never had to, that I would be teaching here after school, but I never had to fill out a secondary employment for any of those.
Was it like third party? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just don't, if you're working in the school with the same kids that you see every day, it's not like you're going to Walmart to work.
The issue is, the reason for the secondary employment to ensure there's not a conflict. So part of filling that out simply is there a conflict of interest? It gets vetted and so forth. So It's not uncommon, and I'm gonna go back a few years when there used to be no child left behind providers, and they were private entities that went into schools based on parent choice. Even though teachers and staff from the schools worked it, they had to fill out secondary employment forms. They were paid by those vendors and so forth, and it just kept it very.
It's just to say, hey, this is.
To be transparent about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if they can, they're, because it's for our own school and in terms of kind of that facilitation, that it's being something that is serving our own school, that having the space, you know, even if the organization, FELE, would pay for security, like the idea is that it's this partnership and.
So to be clear, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's do it right.
Yeah.
So then we'll plan on you looking into it and letting everyone know like next week or sometime within if you can do it. Something like, I don't know what's realistic for you.
Yeah. So let me gather as much information that I can.
Okay.
And I'll share with principal's eyes to share.
Okay, yeah, because,
I'm sorry.
she had to go.
At 7:12?
Yeah, because we have a need for it,
Yep.
and it seemed like they had it all set up last year and it worked, right? So.
And it's mostly our own teachers.
And I think the cost was pretty reasonable, which was the other lovely
It
thing
was
about it.
actually, they were thinking
It was like
of
nominal.
raising it.
I was gonna
Because
say.
it was way low.
Like, do you
very
think
low.
you could maybe look into principal's eyes, like the cost of the security guard?
So that's.
For, how does it work then with Right at School? Because is there a security guard for Right at School?
They don't need one.
They don't need one because they have their own, okay. So yeah, if you could let us know like how much that would cost. Is that something like what Nerdy are saying is like, could that be encompassed in the cost or could you do like a sliding scale, like I think?
And well, no, I mean, was a FELE event, I remember last year where security or the movie night that FELE paid for security. So it's done in the past.
Right,
FELE
right.
for events
That's what,
pays for security.
So we just need to know what it costs because they could charge a little more and then if there's like circumstances, I think that's what they did where some, they need waivers or something like that's reasonable, right? Okay. Does anyone have while we're on this topic, before we move on to other budget stuff, does anyone have any questions for the Right at School? People who kindly are sitting through our meeting for over 2 hours now.
Well, I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So is there a precedent for 501c3s like FELE at other schools to become vendors? Like you wouldn't be the first one to do it, right?
They would not be the first.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then that shouldn't be an issue.
No, the process is lengthy.
I was gonna
It takes
say.
about-
Cost.
How long are we
It takes about 90 days. It requires insurance, it requires a principal sponsor, obviously, sponsor. And a bunch of different hoops to jump.
So maybe we do need to find out if that actually has happened, right?
The concern that I've heard from some parents is that the fund, becoming a vendor itself is an issue, but if the organization needs to spend the funds on insurance instead of programming,
Sure.
they're not a big nonprofit, they're just trying
That
to
makes
serve
a
our
lot of
school. They're not trying to do other services.
So maybe if we can do it the other way, it might make
So
sense.
has FELE expressed interest in doing this? Because you suggested it to them, but what did
So
they say?
when I met with FELE, with the new body, my suggestion was that it is a lengthy process, but that's in my opinion, the right way to do it.
Sure.
And then again, I offered, I did an email introduction between Right at School and FELE, because they've already gone through the process. They're already vetted, they already have their insurance, they already know our kids, they already know the school.
Right.
So partnering up with them to create new programming, that kind of aligns with some of the things that they were offering before. That would be my,
The
that's
issue
one of many
is,
suggestions.
Right at School is significantly more expensive.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Well, I
It's
don't-
not your fault.
Well, I just wanted to know, I would like to then give you the space, but again, I think what is wonderful is that Right at School is a large, massive nonprofit that has overhead costs, and there's a reason that they have a certain cost that they need to
Right,
cover.
exactly.
This is a Friends of organization that is just trying to connect, trying to pay the teachers a little bit more to provide after-school programming at a low cost for our economically diverse families. And so I think, again, going to the focus, of what we're trying to do, and the difference between the opinion of what is suggested and what is legally required is really at the heart, I think, of understanding how to meet that, intersect those lines, that we're meeting the requirements, but also having it as accessible as possible. But that was my comment.
Nori, do you mind saying something? And then
I wanted to know, I know that we have the sports clubs, are we still gonna have volleyball and basketball and soccer?
That's paid through SCORE, I believe.
Okay.
Right?
What about like cheerleading?
Yeah, it depends on coaches' availability, and if someone who has been coaching the same team for years is unable to, then we would have to find a replacement, but usually there's people in the building, and with parent support. As it stands now, yeah, he should be passing out forms either currently or next week.
And that funding comes from where? SCORE?
From my understanding, because I was gonna start when everybody else started for cross country, my understanding from Mr. Arroyo was that, what is it, fall sports? Fall sports is, but everybody was starting on Monday. This Monday.
But I think you can, because there are kids who have still been asking me for forms, so I think you still have
Oh,
the
they can
opportunity
still
to opt
do it,
in.
yeah.
I'm just not sure what the last date is. And I can text him right now if we want to know like the final date for opting in.
So do we want to get the Reddit school?
yeah,
folks
I was
an
just
opportunity?
gonna say, and what would a partnership with even
With
look
Bella
like?
look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So with this, it's a separate offering from our standard before and after school programming. We partner with different vendors across the greater Chicagoland area who've all been vetted, background checked, et cetera. And they are experts in whatever the courses that they want to do. We call it discovery clubs. And we have a whole catalog of different offerings: karate, cooking, fairy tale classes, theater, etc. And basically we work with like LSCs to say, hey, these are like 3 or 4 clubs we want one a day that our families would really be interested in. And the students are able to stay after school. Our team then takes on kind of all of the safety procedures and making sure the students who are supposed to be there are there. We bring them to their space. They usually have about an hour or so of programming and snacks that we provide, and then we ensure that they're going home to the right people. With that, like for the school purposes, we do have that 8.5% revenue share that we utilize within Inter-American Magnet School, and so boosting programs within our programs would then also mean money back to you. Like also absolutely understands the want to give your teachers more money. This is just an option. We have it in some schools. We also have some schools where they have some OST programs that are ran by the teachers, and then some where they're doing art clubs as well. And it's really a space piece. But we do offer, there's some schools that do like 1 a day up to like 4 clubs a day, depending on just the popularity and different pieces. And if we don't have enough students, each of the club sessions typically runs, we have 3 different sessions that run. So we'll have a fall one that'll run from September to December, a winter one, which will be December to like March, I think, and then a March to June spring one. And we're also able to move those courses around. So say like we wanted a cooking course in the fall and the karate in the winter and piano in the spring, we can absolutely do that. Or we can say, hey, theater went really good. We're gonna actually just hold on to theater and go fall, winter, spring. They're gonna do different productions each time. There's a lot of flexibility with us and having partnerships across the area to be able to offer a wide variety of different courses for students. And like I said, again, it's not something that it's a must. It's just there is the financial, like you'll still see some money coming in. You won't have the overhead costs that go with it. It would really just be a matter of having the doors of having us here, like we already are. Yes,
I don't know, you can share what would be the cost of one class.
So it really does depend. We actually just pulled up some of our nearby courses, as low as like $180 for the whole session, upwards of like $400, depending on what goes into it, the materials needed, et cetera. And that's also something that I wouldn't say, we absolutely wouldn't be able to start for the September sessions, because those are starting next week. But like winter, if it is something that, say you were interested in exploring, we could bring the catalog to the LSC or to a subgroup that wanted to take a look at it and say, hey, here, based on the catalog and based on the cost of programming, we think these might be good ones. Even to just say, hey, for winter, we want to try out one club and we'll do one in the spring, just to give it once round, see if that fits. If it doesn't feel right, we can scrap it for next year, but it's a little extra money. They're already here, might as well give it a try. It's just options.
How many weeks in one session?
I'm gonna defer to Rigo as my expert on each of those.
Yeah, so for our clubs, they typically run,
8-week session, 6 to 8 weeks.
And it's like once a week.
Once a week. And you don't have to be part of Right at School to join that club session. So it would be, you know, if Keely wanted to do yoga on Tuesdays, or Rigo wanted to do Dime, which is a dance class that is actually hugely popular across the board, like hip hop. They typically have wait lists for Dime, but it would just be that day from right after school until like 4:30, or it's usually about an hour and a half time, and then parents can pick up right from there. If their student does go to Right at School, we just transition them into the program. Otherwise, parents will meet us at a designated door where we'll check IDs and sign students out to the appropriate person.
Is there a minimum number of students to make it viable?
Typically there is, and it really depends on the vendor more so than us. I've seen them run with as few as 3 students. And other courses, it's just, it doesn't work for a certain, I can't think of, like the theater class really kind of does need a few more than 3 kiddos, right? Like we can't put on a little play or work through the acting skills. But a piano class could be 2-3 kids, or chess is probably at least 4 kids, right? So that they can battle each other on the board. But those are options that we have available.
And the cost doesn't vary depending on number of students?
No, it does not. The cost would be the same regardless of if there's 10 students or 25 students.
Can I just note something? And I know that the school gets money back. I'm just looking too of like affordability. I know OST was, I believe, below $40 for students, and it was like 8 weeks. I know money doesn't get thrown back to the school. Not OST, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Escuelita, not the after school thing.
This is looking like around $25 to $30 a class, basically, roughly.
So
Yeah.
one class would have paid for 8 weeks of.
Yeah, but I think Noria is saying they were gonna have to maybe raise their cost slightly. So this.
I just think we need to like think about what parents can.
Right, and then the sessions are an hour. Is that correct?
So is security not required if it's a vendor?
So because we're taking the responsibility with them, they've done background check through us, and our team is still like essentially overseeing them, it would not be required. Like our program managers, our educators are on site nearby, they do all the check in, check out, they're monitoring the happening.
And then for late pickups?
We would just incorporate them into the RAS program until mom and dad can get there.
So we've done in the past, say, for example, I was a program manager at Sierra Classical, where we had, just many of these enrichment courses over there. And during pickup, like say if they're late or anything, I would drop them just for a few minutes into my program and just wait for them. So I ensure that all students are safe. We're taking all their attendance. I also would ask the instructors if they can hang back with us if they could. Otherwise, they don't really have to hang back with us. As a program manager, we'd be liable for them.
and we're waiting for those parents to pick them up. So we're responsible for those students, for their safety, until parents pick them up. And we also have all their emergency contacts and things of that nature. So if we need to call the parents, we can call them.
And do you provide Spanish language options? So cooking in Spanish, other things in
I would
Spanish?
say there's Spanish courses. It really depends on the instructor, on their ability. I would say that's a very difficult question for me to answer.
I can get more information as far as that from our Discovery Club's coordinators. Off the top, I know we do have that option, but I can get more information on, which ones would be available in both Spanish and English, and get that information for you guys.
Can you talk about your experience with other dual language schools? Because, yeah, I mean, I know you're talking about, you want to get us more information about, like that dual language part, but you all presumably operate in other dual language schools across Chicago.
Correct. Some CICS schools, we are there as well, where their curriculum is in dual language as well, so I mean, mostly Spanish and English. I will say for Discovery Clubs, I don't think we've offered some there in the past.
Not at CICS, not in the charter schools. Lincoln has quite the diverse learners, and that's something that we just worked with our vendors, and our Discovery Clubs. Like I'm not the expert in that exact piece of it, but I can still get you. We don't have that many dual language schools in our portfolio that utilize our clubs at this time, but that doesn't mean it's not something that we can't we can't support. And because we do have such a wide net of different providers and different partners, we would still have a plethora of options that we could provide to Inter-American.
And then like if people are paying for right at school, which is like a lot of money, can they go into that class too if they're paying for that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What they can do is we can change their schedule for that week too, so that they're not like double paying. So if they're going to whatever class on Thursdays and say they're Monday through Friday or as kiddo, we would just update their schedule so that they're on our schedule for piano on Thursday, and then we're taking them down to a play with us.
But there's a separate charge, so.
Yeah, because if they be their class would then end at 5, then maybe they don't get picked up until like 6 or something, right?
Then they can just join us.
Yeah.
So, this has all been very useful information. I do want to recognize that I don't see the LSC, if we're not the ones necessarily managing this or coordinating this, that up until this point, it has been Fede who is supporting with this. So in terms of next steps and figuring out more information, is this a conversation between Fede and Right at School, or is this something, trying to clarity on lots of information, and I don't want to make you give us information, because I know for me, I'm not helping to coordinate.
Yeah, I think it was just because the OST was part of the budget.
Right, but I'm saying in terms of clarity on next steps and decision making, because Fede has been the one leading.
So Feli has been from Dr. Chwalos, who will give it to Principal Zayas about if this is required as an outside vendor. Correct, yeah. Because it wouldn't be a partnership with Feli and Right School, it's like, it would be 2 separate things, right?
Feli doesn't have to bring in Right at School for after school, right? It can be.
Well, it could be,
yeah.
It would be something that then,
option,
Yeah.
just to take kind of some of the work off of the other plates, but yeah.
So, Principal Zayas, are you suggesting something that you would like to take on as the administration to also offer this as an option, or how is it? Right.
So again, I think, our conversation should be with Feli. We've reached out to Feli. They haven't had the opportunity to meet with Right at School. And I think, after that meeting, I could report.
Okay, I want to be super clear on who's carrying the next action steps, because I'm not.
Yeah, so
Just want to be clear on that.
Well, the first thing is to find out what the options are.
And
we will not know the options until.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna find out the rules, he'll let Principal Zayas know, who will communicate it to Feli, really, I think, and then Feli is gonna meet with Right at School, yeah?
Sure.
I don't know, I'm not.
Yeah, and just to clarify, there are many, many, many teachers in the building who want to teach after
Oh,
school.
that's, yeah.
So if we can keep it in-house,
Yeah, that's.
that would be
why we
beautiful.
have to find out first about Feli and then practice.
That sounds
I
reasonable.
will elevate just this one last point before before we move on is the fact that, you know, if I go in with right at school, that's funding that goes back into the actual,
But that's money out of parents' pockets.
But yeah, we have to,
And
the teachers and then the parents.
Yeah, and the money goes to the teachers and they count too, right?
And so I would like to verbally say, also as an LSC member, that my priority would be ensuring that Fele and our teachers are the ones that do the after school programs. And so I think that the Reddit school is a great option to explore, but I would like to see everything possible so that we can continue with that option, because it's really hard to, especially with multiple kids, it's really unaffordable for many families in our community. And so how we can facilitate that and continue to support our teachers, and that relationship with our students is a priority for me.
Great, so we have half an hour left. Other budget related clarifications or questions?
No, but I agree with Margarita, I would love a break and we'll check out the curriculum before we go from the next, before we go to the next.
Which is,
Could-
yeah.
Can we do that at the end?
Could we do it at the end? Only because we need to vote.
Yeah, but we have to vote on it.
On the
show.
show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why,
That's
I think we
why.
should do a 5 minute
Yes.
break, yeah. I know.
Well, I need a break, I need some more.
Okay, so nobody has anything else to say about the budget? If that's the case, then we're gonna go on. Oh, did you want to, Margarita?
Yeah, I have a question regarding, I guess it falls into this category. When we last met on the budget formally, we had on there, the hourlies, okay? And they were budgeted to be working for this school year. And although we didn't name them by names, we talked about our hourly employees at the time. And so when they left the building on the last day of the school year, they all assumed they were coming back in the fall. All the parents assumed they were coming back in the fall. The children assumed they were going to see the same faces in the fall. So, one of our hourlies received notice that her position was cut due to budget. So I'd like some explanation on that, because as far as we knew as an LSC, you know, the budget was there for all our hours. So if you could please explain that.
I'm going to discuss personnel matters.
No, I'm not asking personnel, I'm asking in terms of the budget.
What exactly?
It's a budget question.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, my question is, if we have, at the end of the year, we have the budget amount required or needed for hourly. How is it that then one of our hourlies is then told that her position is being cut due to the budget? What the budget is there, so it's not a question about, we're not even naming who this person is, it's not a personnel question, this is a budget question. How can we have money in the budget, and yet someone is let go due to the budget? That's a budget question.
That is a personnel question.
It's not a personnel question.
No,
It's not, it's a
it's
budget
What I will
question.
say is that the budget pays for positions, and those positions, the same number, we currently.
Okay, so that employee did forward, I believe, to you, in the email, from saying that her position was, or she was no longer, or he was no longer in the position due to the budget. So the budget is within the LSC's purview. And so, and it's actually concerning me because you mentioned about hiring an hourly for lunch research supervision, and mentioned that it was challenging to do so, right, guys? Not an hour ago. So
given that we voted on and, you know, the majority approved the budget, that just doesn't line up. Something is missing in this conversation, and that's what you're asking, right, Margarita? The rationale given was budget related. So, but we have a position, and now we have an open position and not enough supervision, right?
So again, whether it had to do with budget or not, I'm not talking about personnel matters or personnel.
We're not talking about a specific person.
So I'd like to just clarify, I think Principal Zeiss, there is a track record of misinformation being given to the community. Misleading information, misinformation. An ex-employee was informed that their position was cut because of budget cuts.
In writing.
There was no budget cuts for our position.
So we're
trying to
responsible for the budget.
understand that in terms of correct information given out to both employees, if it's a personnel matter, that person was let go for other reasons. But if they're let go because of budgets and they're informed in writing that their position is cut because of budget cuts and there are no budget cuts, that's concerning for the integrity of the school.
LSC who voted on the budget for those miscellaneous positions.
So can you
We are
clarify
confused.
of why somebody would be informed that their position is cut due to budget cuts?
I do not discuss personnel matters.
Respectfully, I think that's,
This is not a
it is
personnel
not, and you put that out there when you don't want to give answers. And it's really disheartening. We're not talking about a
This is not a
specific,
personnel
we're not saying people's names. It is a question about the budget. And you,
What we are asking is, was he let go really for the budget for other reasons?
Because
And that becomes a personnel question.
No, but he just said that it was because of budget.
No, that's not a question, that's not a question, was that person?
We are not
We're not
asking
asking why the person
why-
was let
we
go.
are
We're
definitely
saying
not.
why this person received a notice that the position was being cut due to the budget.
Nuria, did you know,
I'm sorry, everyone's doing it. Principal Zayas, was any, were there budget cuts that would have, no, there were no budget cuts that resulted in termination.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other?
I'm sorry, Kishasha, just give me one moment. And so, Dr. Travelos, I hope you don't mind speaking on this. If there were no budget cuts that led to a termination, but a former contractor had alleged that there was, what would CPS have to say about that?
I can't speak to it. So all those notifications are handled by the talent HR department, and the process of notification and vetting lives with them. So the information that they provided to that employee is the information they provided. They'd be the ones who investigate too.
Okay, and do you agree it is not possible then that an employee could have been terminated due to budget cuts?
I can't speak to it because the classifications of employees are different.
Yeah.
And what it looks like from year to year can change as well.
But there were no budget cuts, you can confirm.
That's
why I think that's what he's saying.
So I will
So the
say
budget
this,
we passed,
in
yeah.
terms of budgets, every year we create a new budget. So in terms of using cuts or increases, a new budget was passed, and ultimately that's how the principal and HR and talent then organized for the school year.
So like the budget we passed that included the funding for the hourly miscellaneous positions, right? That was.
None of those were cut.
Yes, that's what I'm
Remember,
asking.
we talk about funding, we don't talk about people, and that was kind of.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we're talking about positions, we're not talking about people. So what I'm saying is like when we voted on the budget in the spring, we all kind of said that this would change, right? And you would do your best to notify us, right? And that hasn't changed.
I'm sorry, can you?
When we voted on the budget and there were different, X amount of money for X number of miscellaneous, and then we had to take money from like our unrestricted funds to cover the, like that's what I'm talking about. That hasn't changed, like those funds were still not yet allocated, that's what you're asking.
Yeah, and that's all, that's all
Yeah,
we need to
to be
understand,
clear.
because I do understand that CPS want to comment on a personnel matter.
Right,
But
that's
our
all
goal
we're
from the LSC is to get facts out in the public, and the public gets to make their own determinations about what happens. And so the facts have been established that there were no budget cuts, particularly with regard to miscellaneous workers, and that's it.
That the funding that was secured in the budget for the miscellaneous workers is still there.
Yes, and Kishasha, I believe you wanted to say.
Yeah, we were going down the hole of talking about specific people, I was gonna caution you.
No, we're
We're
trying,
definitely
we're
not trying to do
absolutely
that.
not.
It's my understanding, just from what I'm hearing, is the budget covers the position, whoever's in it. So I'm guessing since we didn't lose the funding for the position's still there, that's why it's back out there to be filled. And that is separate from the letter that the person received. That's just from what I'm hearing right now.
Excuse me, how is it different than what the letter the person received?
As far as, our main question, as he said, was the budget cut? If the budget wasn't cut, but the position was gone, but they said the position was cut because of the budget, that's a different issue. As long as we actually still have the budget, and that's not been cut, then we still have the position. Now, it's also, I mean, like, the personnel portion of it, I do get that as far as, not talking about that. That seems to be a separate issue that they may need to follow up on.
We're just trying to figure out why the money that was allocated for the positions, we thought that we passed, right?
Right.
And that why then, budget was used as the reason. That's really what we're
Right.
asking. We're trying to be very clear that nothing changed in the budget, right?
Right.
So whatever that reason was, it couldn't have changed the budget.
Right.
From our standpoint, from what we passed on our
Right,
budget,
and
yeah.
it sounds like we have clarity that the budget is the same as
Yes.
it was.
Right.
So it's just something weird.
Well,
What's disturbing? I mean,
Yeah.
Disturbing.
It's disturbing,
It's
but,
disturbing.
and I think, yeah, and I do want to move us on because we're at 45. You know, CPS has said their piece, and
42.
LSC has said their piece, but I think the last note that we want to end on is that this person had approached the LSC with this issue. The LSC is not investigating
No.
personal issues. We are not trying to micromanage. We were approached by a very distressed person that they were terminated.
And they had in writing that they were.
Right, and the budget
budget-
cuts are
Exactly.
implied, or excuse me, implicate the LSC because the LSC set that budget.
Exactly.
So that is why we're discussing it today, but we have also said our piece, and so I think it's
We are
time for us
discussing-
to move on.
I would like.
We
Oh,
have to go over the.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a budget question, okay.
No,
So
but-
you cut the position, you did, you cut this person.
I'm not gonna answer that
Okay.
question.
All right, so now you found the money because now you.
No, we had the money was there.
We're making allegations and inferences without any proof. I suggest we move on, Chair.
I think that what we can say is what Justin just said, which is that the budget is not changed. The funding for the positions are still there. Somebody came to LSC distressed because their position was terminated, and the rationale given in writing to them was the budget. And this is concerning to the LSC because we passed the budget, and this is our responsibility, and we are disturbed and confused as to how that rationale could have been given. And that's now in the public record, right?
Right.
So, yeah, then we gotta move on.
We have LSC relations here. How do we, as an LSC, Dr. Ford, how do we as LSC follow up on something that's proposed? We have the budget for these positions that, as we stated about an hour ago, these positions are to our running of our school, okay? These are the hours that address the needs of the children while they're out in the playground. Because they cannot use the playground itself, the little playground area, unless we have the right amount of supervision. But all through last year, the children, the small children who should be making use of that playground were not able to, but 1 day a week.
Margarita,
This is a budget question.
I know it's a budget question, but we're not gonna be able to vote on the things. Can I just say, I think this is really, really important, and I am very distressed about what happened. I believe that we should have a follow-up question with Ms. Ford and Mr. Travalos afterwards, so that we don't miss the voting items.
Well,
that we
not
have to do.
Friday, on it.
Yeah, but
We have to move on. We have, Margarita, we have to move on. We
Okay,
don't
let me
have
just
time.
finish. If you can please give us, we're here on LSC, you can tell us how we follow up on this, because this is regarding our budget. And a much needed position to have been built on day one at the start of the school year. And we had the personnel, it's a budget question. From the LSC, how did the LSC fund this? Thank you.
And if we could, if Meredith, if you could follow up with them to get that information, to have that question answered, after.
And then okay, so so now we're gonna take a 5-minute.
Do we?
We wanna go look
I mean,
at
at this
stuff,
point, like,
right? There's only one transfer.
Okay,
And I
so
think,
let's go
yeah, and I
look
think the committees, we can, I'll just make a motion to the committee discussion for the next meeting, if anyone wants to second that. All in favor? Nobody opposed, okay, so the committees will just go, it's not urgent, it can go to the next meeting. So then really we have one transfer, right? And one vote, and then public participation. We need to go.
I will say though, just as a point, just if we're all, whoever's going up there, you know, you look, but you can't talk about it.
Because we only buy legal
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break.
At 7:46.
So let's just try to be 8, no, 7:50.
Yes, 7:50.
Quick.
I motion, pause, everybody, I motion for a recess, we need to motion and vote on a recess.
I second.
Thank you.
5-minute recess, at 7:47. So we'll be back at
Can someone
7:53.
direct those who wanna go to the Wow.
Okay, I'm unmuting.
You don't want to violate the ordinance.
It is unmuted.
Okay.
We are back.
Okay.
Motion to come back to,
I make a motion to come back as our business, Juliana, and then a second, all in favor of returning that?
Yes.
Yeah.
7:54.
Great, thank you. So that, now we're on, new business, which is, I said, expenditures, transfers, contracts, not that we have all this there, but just to have that spending item. We have one, the transfer request, which is for 20 chrome wire shelving units at a cost of $242 per unit. Those are the same as the, just crystal size, the Uline brand ones that are in there, right?
The exact.
The exact. I can say that there were many, many boxes. So I was like, really, 20? But now I actually, yeah.
So can you clarify? The 5 wasn't in there, so the 5,000 is for 20 wires.
Okay, but I just have one more question regarding that. Okay, so so this is to unpack and put out the materials out there. But once a teacher takes the materials, that shelf is then empty? Like, if all the teachers, in other words, are we purchasing too many shelves? That's my question, because if they don't take the materials.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's gonna be tight with, I mean, just picture all of the boxes that we have there. Yeah, it's gonna be tight, but you also have to remember, it's not just gonna be empty. We're looking to, use that space as well for other materials from other programs as well.
Hence what's called level data and not level data. Sorry,
Exactly. Okay, so we don't, not only house what's currently there, but Estrellita or the other materials that have, there's also some stuff that has never been curriculum stuff from humanities. So those could also be it.
I don't know what you're referring to.
So just moving on time, what I want to clarify, the question I think that Marita is trying to say that I'm understanding is that the material, the curriculum is to be used in the classroom in the year, right? So they need to be organized right now, but I think Marita is trying to say is during the year, those, yes, we get new curriculum, but the idea is that the curriculum is not going to be in that room, so why do we need shelves to house it?
So, because not all teachers are gonna use every single piece of material for each individual unit. Teachers will have the opportunity to go in and review what they already have created, supplement where need be, replace where need be, and those materials that are not used are being placed back.
Kind of like a lending letter.
So it's
But
like-
for teachers.
Right.
So there are some shelves that are gonna be less full at some point.
Yeah, but the idea is to have a place where those materials can be replenished.
We don't have space every year, they're gonna probably need to get.
Right, I mean,
Can we just move our discussion to one discussion, please, and not let our side discussion?
So do kids take those books home, or do they bring them back? How does that work?
So it depends on, I believe on the specific unit that they're covering, but yeah, they have the option to go.
I mean, so like, would you have to replenish next year, I guess?
For the consumables, yes.
Okay. And yeah,
Unfortunately, CPS, I don't know how.
and then,
Yeah, I think you should move it to voting items.
Can I answer the question?
I'm sorry, no.
yeah.
There was, what was the question?
About the curriculum.
I guess principal science answer,
Yeah.
right?
Ask an answer, I think we're.
Answer the question? My question was answered, I don't know what.
We're pushing.
Yeah,
And so
sorry,
I moved to.
Thank you for offering what these.
Yeah, I moved to approve this wire transfer from budget line 29191
So, I'm sorry, so we've moved, that's all we're talking about tonight.
Yep.
We have to start with the budget line transfer, so that's gonna be this one first.
Well, there, yeah, okay, so we were moving on from discussion to voting items, that's what I wanted to be clear.
Yes.
Okay?
And I'm okay with moving on, but I'm highly concerned, parents have reached out to me saying that they don't have, that teachers don't have funding for carpetas, which is kind of a main a crucial point. And so my concern, this is important,
but I want to ensure that the basic things like activitas are funded for our teachers. So I just am making that, yeah, the communication folder.
Like first grade, we all bought our own.
So what I can say is that we just got $19,000 that reflected into our capital cuts. So if you want, I could prepare that along with the foundations and the rest of that.
That'd be great. What I want is for the next meeting to have clarity on what the needs of the teachers are, what the gaps are. I asked this at the end of last year, I'm asking it again. Looking ahead, what funds do we have that are restricted for books, materials, things like that, so that we can have, at the beginning of the year, the materials that we need for our classes. So that includes carpetas and the other, and if we have the funding available, but if we can use restricted funding for that, that would be ideal.
Our carpetas for the whole school, or the grades that don't have it, is that gonna be under $1,000?
I would need to see.
You look
what the
into it, maybe that would be helpful, right, Jenny?
Yes, ma'am, you mentioned it.
Because some grades I think have it, some don't.
We did not have them for the first day of school. We didn't even have them on week 0. Well, we don't have them, period. And the whole first grade team, because that's the main communication we have with parents, and you can't just not have that communication folder. We ended up buying them ourselves, and then I'm pretty sure kindergarten also bought them because, again, last year we didn't have them, and kindergarten purchased them last year. So this is my second year of purchasing these yellow communication folders.
You should get reimbursed.
They're not going to.
Well,
okay. Well, that's, it's an important point for next time and to be resolved before next time.
And principal's eyes, if it's under $1,000, can you just buy them?
Yes.
That's kind of important. And we had what we would say, yeah.
And I feel like since we have classrooms that already purchased them, that you should reach out, figure out who already has them, because you can get it under
Or at
$1,000.
least buy them for the younger kids where they maybe not as reliable and seeing what happens to happen. I know. Yeah, and please pay the teachers back, we can. Okay, and there's nothing else, we're not discussing other expenditures, transfers, or contracts today, correct? No,
Are we signing the?
Well, it started without it, it wasn't brought to us in time, we had a July meeting for.
But I thought the goal was they were gonna start, but we still have to prove it, so I thought it was.
We didn't get through it last year,
Today.
it was not brought to us.
Okay.
I think the time is wrong, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Unless someone has a strong feeling about that. It's supposed to be brought to us in a timely fashion, and it's not, and somebody had to reach out to ask for it.
I still think that we should have approved it.
It's not on the agenda though.
It's under contract.
It's under
It's not as Spanish, but it is in English.
No, it's right there.
That's voting item?
No, it says discuss contract.
Yes, no, but
No
vote,
discussion, we're not
but it's
even
not
voting,
in
we're just
English.
voting item.
No, I'm saying that to vote is not in the,
It's
in the English one, but I understand. So, that's it.
Oh, I see what you're saying, sorry, that's my mistake. I think the point is, like, we've asked for a year now to have contracts brought to us in a timely fashion. This was not brought to us, it was only notified, we were notified only because an LSC member reached out. Otherwise, can't assume, but we did not get it. And so I know Principal Zayas, we have to move on, you've asked us for feedback, and this feedback has been given to you for over a year now. So I don't know that we can really vote on something that already happened. So do you want to move on to voting items?
Yeah, I would like to move to approve this budget line transfer from budget line 29191 115 53405 119016 000 575 2026 in the amount of $5,000 to budget line 29191 115 53405 24100 000 575 2026.
That's it.
Okay. All in favor of approving this for $5,000 for the wire shelving? Aye. Did anyone, all in favor?
I abstain.
I'm abstaining.
Abstaining. Margarita?
I'm abstaining. I just don't.
Can I just ask why people are abstaining?
I think that, that's quite a large amount of money and shopping. I would like to start out with 10 and then see how it goes. You know? I would like to start out with a smaller number.
I just don't have a grasp on like what that costs, and I see like other gaps in finances on other things?
It just seems, for me, it seems, but it passed, right?
But that, so I would like to say though, that it's, we all say aye, and then we're not sure how many. I feel like if we're gonna do, like, maybe like motions for budget or like for other things, but I feel like it's confusing for the note taker to know who is it and if it passed or not, and people, so.
And I just think if there's a comment like that, can you say it during the discussion part of?
Justin just popped up and said, oh, go ahead.
Because we're 5 minutes over.
We are, but it's just.
Okay, I did not know comments were over, because I was gonna say, can we start out with a smaller number of shows? That's
Well, it passed.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Okay, so
So-
then public participation,
We're not.
So one is transferring the funds into the account, the other one is making the purchase.
Yeah, right, so I move to approve this purchase request of 20 chrome wire shelving units at $214 per unit from budget, and this will be taken from budget line 29191 115 53405 241 005 000 575 2026 in the amount of $5,000.
And actually, from this, we can do discussion now. The money has been moved, but I think that we can use, buy 10 shelves and then see how we're doing and purchase the other ones later.
I agree.
And I respectfully disagree, because I think that we should defer as an LSC to the administration when it comes to very specific details like this. My philosophy is that the LSC should not be micromanaging in the amount of shelves that we should be buying, and that's my position.
I agree.
And I
So we should
appreciate, and I appreciate that, and you saying that helps me agree with the full amount. So I no longer.
I don't think it's on the, I don't think it's in the amount of shelves, it's the amount of money that's being spent when there's there may be other needs that the administration may not have already seen. That's why. It's not like buy, you only can buy 10. We're hearing that there's other needs.
I think there's that, and then there's the fact that, like Jenny said, we still don't have a clear idea about costs, right?
So I retract, that was a suggestion as part of the discussion, but I move forward with what you just said. Okay. So I'm not amending the vote, or I'm not changing the motion.
Margarita, would you like to amend the vote at all?
Well, we haven't voted for this yet.
Would you like to amend the motion, what we're voting on?
I'd like to amend the motion to decrease the number of shelves. I think that we need to kind of look at the money a little bit better and the needs as well. We do need these shelves. Can we do 10, 12 shelves so that there's money left over for something else? And at the same time, if there isn't, as we see the materials, we can purchase the other ones a little later.
So Madam Chair, we should take a vote on the amendment.
Which is 10
Well,
shelves.
doesn't she need a second?
Oh, right, that's true, you do need a second.
If there's someone who wants to second that motion.
Okay, I'll second it, yeah. For 10 shelves, right? Just to see how we do with teachers then, like, removing materials from the shelving, and maybe we don't need as much of that. It's also a smaller. Okay, so now we're gonna vote on, the money has already been transferred, now we're gonna vote on spending it on 10 Uline wire shelves, which they're $242 a shelf. So $2,420 basically is the expense, right? Maybe we just go one by one, is that, it could all, I'm very gonna be able to catch Jenny, you were saying like.
I know, I just,
There aren't that many, so please. In favor of approving the expenditure of $2,420 for 10 wire shelves. Can you raise your hand or say aye? We'll hear that. Anybody else or all opposed?
Margarita, you're not gonna vote for your own?
She did.
Okay.
She did.
Wait, but we need to take a pause, I didn't see you raise your hand, so, okay. I have 2 votes for yes.
Okay, all opposed to voting for 10 shelves. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then abstain, and then.
Who's abstaining?
Kristen,
I am, and I believe
Kristen, are you
Kristen is.
abstaining?
I think I'm gonna oppose it. If I oppose, I feel like
The reason I didn't want to vote was because I see other financial gaps, but then I also don't want to see a room that's half set up. Like, I don't understand what the point would be, and like, I think as an LSC, we have other things to spend our time on, and like, if we're gonna do something, let's do it, versus like doing it halfway.
Mrs. Jackson said there were more.
There's more stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if we're gonna
Wait,
do
wait.
it, we do it all
So
the
the
way.
motion-
I
need us to be able to
understand how many we have. Can I, as secretary, can we just clarify, there was 2 yes, and who abstained?
2 abstentions from 2 teacher reps.
No,
Just
Red,
me.
just one.
Oh, just 1?
Okay, thank you.
Can I please make a motion to?
Is there a second? Okay. So you caught up, Jenny?
No, but
Okay,
it
let's
is what it is.
Let's just wait a second. We can wait a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
I think you made it.
Mrs.
Do you need to say it
Alexander.
all over? Do you need to do the whole thing?
No.
Mrs. Dye, you're gonna have 20 delivered all at the same time.
So I make a motion for the 24 shelving units, cost of $200 per unit to be approved. Budget line 2919111553405241005 000575 2026 in the amount of $5,000, which includes shipping costs.
I have a second.
So you caught up, Jenny?
I thought that someone else had seconded already.
She did, yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're just waiting for
Okay.
Jenny to be caught up.
Okay, so let's, all those in favor? But keep your hands up. Let's. Julie, are you in favor or you're not in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, so who's, no? Any no's?
I abstain.
And 2 abstentions? Thank you.
Okay, so that passed, I'll send these. So we're gonna now move on to public participation. Gonna read the statement and then the chat will be open. We will now proceed with the public participation portion of the meeting. Profane language, unsolicited comments, and disruptive behavior are prohibited. Individuals who are disruptive may be given warning and may also be removed from the meeting. If necessary, the online chat will be open. During public participation, only for participants to put their name to request to speak, otherwise all attendees must refrain from writing anything else in the chat. Jess? So there's nobody, Ms. Ford.
Oh, sorry. And
I'll go last.
no, nobody's in the chat. You can go, but let me just say out loud though, the chat is open. So if you would like to participate publicly, please put your name in the chat now.
And then, go ahead while they.
And then talk in this direction.
Okay, I'll be brief because I have to go to the bathroom and it's after 8 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. LSC members, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for being here and this meeting. I love it. I appreciate your service. I do want to thank the chair and the vice chair and the secretary for having a conversation with Mr. Brown for our key work. I'm excited about that moving forward. Also, I sent a note if you all as members have other questions for a Google Doc. I shared that with you. That gives them an opportunity to answer any questions you all have as a body. The other thing I wanted to flag and say, this was amazing, just hearing the report about the ranking, which is great. 42, Chicago Magazine, just congratulations to the staff, the teachers, the school administration. That is a wonderful accomplishment. And then I always like to have quotes. And so there's a quote for the school year. A new year is exciting. A new year means new beginnings, new adventures, and new partnerships. The slate is clean and anything is possible. So I hope you'll have an amazing FY26 school year. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Anybody?
Nobody's in the chat. No, not yet. If you would like to participate publicly, you got 5 seconds to type your name into the chat before we close it. Or you can raise your hand also too. I know that.
Someone did raise their hand in the chat.
Oh, they did? Oh, now it came. Miss Jackson.
You can't
Wait,
do
can you
twice.
not speak twice?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, we can't do twice.
New bylaws.
It's, sorry, new bylaws state that you can only participate once per meeting. Who was it? Oh. Was it Marina? I saw your name, you raised your hand earlier. Did you still want to speak? No, okay, going once, going twice, and nobody. Chat's closing.
Great, yeah. So that concludes public participation. The next LSC meeting is, as we mentioned, Thursday, September 11th, also 5 p.m., same location. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Someone like to second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning the meeting? Yes, yes, everybody? Okay, that looks like it passed unanimously. Only 15 minutes.
I'm saying I'm pretty proud of 15 minutes. It's not